my head today.
Cool.
What's up, business nerds? Happy Wednesday night. I'm Dan. We got Brannon Fowler in the house. We got Ashley Bissing from One Love Social in the house. We're talking trash tonight. We'll be talking some trash. You can't even believe it. Ashley, Brannon, how the hell are you guys doing?
Doing good. Busy day. Yeah. Never thought I'd be on a podcast starting at 8 o'clock at night, but here we go.
It's very strategically when we're getting our roommates to bed. I got a 9, 7, and 3, and now it's bedtime. Sometimes I help out, and sometimes I don't. And tonight I don't. So Marty's got it under control. She's out there I'd say she's out there kicking ass, but I just kind of hear her out there yelling at the kids, which is what I would be doing if I was out there. So
I left the game all the way back to the office just to make sure I couldn't help.
Yeah, I get every once in a while, the microphone will pick up just a random scream, and I'm like, do I need, I'm pulling one of these, like, do I need to go interject? The last Wednesday, my wife was out at the bar with some friends, and I had all 3 kids in bed. They were just chilling, and somewhere in the middle of the night, my 2, it was all 3, but like my 2 and whatever 11-month-old, I could just hear him. He's just out there screaming, and I'm like, I got a guest on the show, but Rob Anderson, Ashley, I think you know Rob. Yeah. Rob jumps on and co-hosts once in a while. So if we have a 4th come on, it'll be Rob. He likes to jump on. I think he's traveling right now, but he jumped on and was hanging out and asking questions. And all of a sudden, I'm like, Rob, you gotta carry it from here for a minute. Marty's not home, and I got a baby screaming outside my door. Like he crawled out of his crib, and he's just giving the door the business. He just wanted to hug, wanted me to tuck him in. It's adorable. But it happens. Brannon, right before we went live, for those of you catching up, Brannon said something about hunting, and I can't miss an opportunity. I can't miss an opportunity to talk about hunting. We've had the tethered guys on the show that make the hunting saddles. They've been on the podcast. Okay. Yeah. We had Don Higgins from Chasing Giants. I'm a whitetail guy, so we've had Don Higgins. We've had working class bow hunter on the show before. Every once in a while, I'll just branch out and get some total outdoorsy that has nothing to do, but they're all business dudes. It's still a business theme. So I like to branch out. But Brannon, you were talking about the peril of the cell phone service when you're on hunting trips and stuff and people getting hold of you. And this happened to me today. I was having this oh shit moment. I have T-Mobile / T-Maybe, if you know.
Yeah.
And they're about to get Starlink on T-Mobile.
I know, and I have a Starlink for when I'm out ice fishing so that I can capitalize my fish house on the business books because I can work from it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll get on this beta program or whatever for Starlink on my phone.
Right.
But I'm going to be in the Boundary Waters in 2 weeks, and I'm there for a week, and I'm inaccessible, right? No cell phone service, no nothing. I have my Garmin whatever with the SOS button on it. Which phones have the SOS button too. Right. But the phone's really just there as a camera, is what it's there for. Or if you get a rainy day and you have a movie downloaded, because we bring in an inflatable couch, we kind of cheat. We hauling an inflatable couch. And last year it was hailing, and we're watching movies sitting on our inflatable couch. But I had this conundrum today of, damn, do I really want to have cell service when I'm trying to not have cell service? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've made it to where when I go on a trip like that, I when you run a business, you employ people, and you got people all over the country running our equipment. I try to be even when I'm out of pocket, still be available to a degree to help them, right? Because that's kind of what I sell myself as doing for them. I also have a team that's going to help, but every night, I got Starlink just for it, right? I'm in the mountains elk hunting or something, I'm turning Starlink on to work at night, so.
Hell yeah.
You get the break, but you don't get the full mental break, I'd say, when you're a business owner sometimes. But the pros of being able to take a couple of days off and go deer hunting in Indiana or go elk hunting in New Mexico or something are definitely worth it.
My buddy and I, it was my first elk hunting trip, and I'm from Wisconsin, and I have 4 freezers in my basement. Last year I shot 8 whitetails. I travel around, I stack them up. But I went elk hunting in Arizona. My buddy drew the tag. I was just there to carry shit and call. And man, I'll tell you what, I'm a pretty sexy cow. I am.
You called some bulls in?
They were just oh, what up, girl? And they were coming at me. And I was just oh shit, these things are big. You know, I'm used to chasing around whitetails. These freaking bulls are big. We didn't end up hauling one back, but we did bring my buddy Starlink. It was actually like the catalyst to why I got Starlink for my fish house. Is my buddy Ben brought his Starlink, and we're 2 hours down the rockiest, shittiest road into the middle of nowhere outside of Flagstaff. And he's like, oh, here's an open sky. We have a generator and a freezer because he's got an F350 with the freezer plug-in. But then we went to town and bought a little like Honda 1400 or whatever. And we're just like, yep, just out here roughing it. We got frozen pizzas, working on the pizzazz on the tailgate, and we got our Starlink. We're watching Monday Night Football, out in the middle of effing nowhere. It's like, it doesn't even feel like we're roughing it at all. Like,
sometimes you're not enough. I gotta say, like with your accent, talking about boundary waters and fish houses, like I would have thought I was talking to Steve Ranello right now.
Might as well be. I'm up here. I live in Minneapolis. Like my route to freedom is north.
Right.
Just get out of town. Ashley, you strike me as a little bit more of a beach person, but do you also feel that need? And I mean, like your business is social media. So do you feel as much of a need to like totally unplug and like disappear? Or do you feel even more compelled to be in the mix because of that?
Well, I do have a team, right? And I actually shut off. So, like, this is weird, but I shut off Facebook between 10 a.m. to about 7 p.m. So, like, I snooze it. It won't, like, let me go on unless I try to bypass it. And once in a while, I will, but I don't actually feel that compelled. I'm more of an Instagram person, but I use Instagram more for personal. So that's, like, my personal expression. And I don't really worry about it too. I know that's weird because I am in social media, but I let my team handle it. That's what they're for. I have my social media manager. I have my content creator. So if you see me in groups, which I'm not actually like commenting that much in groups, it's because I actually want to be there, and it's not that often.
It's authentic. Then we know it's real. Then
I have to tag her when I want her to talk about stuff in my group. I've got a really big Facebook group for the trash can cleaning industry, and I'm like, Ashley needs to comment on this. Tag.
And then I'll jump in, I will. It's just, and I appreciate that you do that because otherwise I won't see it.
I kind of wonder how many times. This is before I got kicked off of Facebook because they won't let me on there now since I have to impersonate myself. But I always wondered how many times I got tagged and I never knew it. Because like I might go 5 days without looking at it, and then it's like farther down in my feeds. Because there was one time where somebody had to like text me to tell me that they tagged me. It was like when you send somebody an email. Ashley and I did this with bookkeeping because we'd like email her stuff, and then she'd be like, "Don't email me stuff. You got to like text me that you emailed me stuff." And I'm the same way. I'm like, don't. If you just email me something, I'm gonna assume it's junk, right? Like if it just naturally goes to my inbox, I am now conditioned that my email inbox is just like my mailbox. It's a bunch of shit you want me to throw away for you. And I'm happy to do it, but but know that I'm going to throw it away unless somehow you tell me otherwise that it's not junk. And I kind of wonder when text messages are going to be that, right? Like now texts are filling up with more shit. At what point is our text inbox just going to be like, don't text me? Like, I'm deleting all that stuff. If you need to get a hold of me, hit me with the video thing from your glasses or like whatever world we live in.
The live streams pop up on your Google glasses or something.
Yeah, like if you know me, even my voicemail, like I get a lot of laughs because when somebody has to leave me a voicemail, it basically is like, hey, so here's the drill. Like if you're getting this voice recording, it's because you're probably not my phone. And if you're a normal human, you understand that there's no way I'm answering your call if you're not my phone. So don't be offended. Just text me who you are and what you want so that I can add you to my phone so the next time you call, I'll answer it. But anyway, and then I think I got like beeped out. I went too long. So surprise. But we all know the drill now. Can't trust anybody. They're all spamming you.
Well, I think it's going to get to a point where we all have two phones. Kind of like, how we all created that extra email for all the spam junk mail. Like, I think it'll get to a point where we all have two phones, one that is like real personal and the other is like one where we're just trying to get like deals from businesses or whatever. Like it's
You think you can do one? You just have one phone, but 2 different lines going into it.
I kind of do that. I kind of do that already. Like I use a service called Talk Route, right? Like Grasshopper or whatever, and I can call out from like 4 phone numbers off of my one cell phone, or I can, and I kind of can decipher what's coming in based on which number somebody calls. So I've done the thing where you physically carry 2 phones before, and it's terrible for work. Like I had my personal phone and that mandatory work phone early in my career, and when I figured out the whole, I don't know what you call it, the electronic phone or the app phone, right? Like, man, that was the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is still playing the 2 phone game for 3M. She's still hauling around the 2 phones, and then she's like, "Oh, I think this one's gonna die. You ought to use this other one." Hey, my producer's not on right now, but you guys would all be proud. I just changed the background without it.
I saw that. I was like, what?
I just, like most people wouldn't call out that type of move, but I'm just really proud of it. So I just want everybody to know that I changed the background on the fly.
Can I ask you what motivated you to do that?
I was looking at Brannon, and then I saw that the beer bottles were like, look. If I go back to the other one, the beer bottles are like way off. And I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, they're not always like that. Oh, like here's the thing to change it.
Yeah.
It
just changed the whole vibe, actually.
Yeah, I just nailed it. Just it's the little things. It's the little things,
Things.
I want to get into the bin cleaning industry, and Brandon, you've got a bunch of expertise running that business and coaching that business, and Ashley, you have a bunch of expertise getting those people more clients. I have a bunch of expertise in smelling my garbage can because like even last night we cooked salmon. So I grew up fishing the Great Lakes and I got a lot of salmon. Man, when you clean salmon, at least it's not like 90 out. Cause like we have a trip in June. We're going on the boat for 4 days.
It's a nice fall day down here.
And man, it's like, if you're cleaning salmon and throwing that stuff, the amount of maggots I've seen crawl out of a garbage can after you clean salmon is just like, is that safe to eat? But my garbage can always, like when I'm cleaning deer early fall, fish in the summer, turkeys right now. I still got a turkey tag for this next weekend. Like my garbage can is for sure. Like if there was somebody out jogging, and I do go outside and run, and every once in a while I'm this person. You jog by a garbage can and you damn near fall over. Like I'm surprised anybody makes it past the end of my driveway. I expect to see like 8 dead bodies laying there if they like ran past and smelled my garbage can on garbage day. It's nasty. I haven't looked into bin cleaning here because I feel like it's more like jokes on them right now. But I'm curious. This wasn't like growing up. This wasn't the thing. I don't recall this at all growing up. But I keep hearing about it and keep hearing about it and keep hearing about it. And I like seeing and exposed to it more and more and more. And so my only safe assumption is that Brandon, when you were like 5 years old and your parents were like, Brandon, what do you want to do when you grow up? You're like, I'm going to clean some trash cans.
Yep, that was it. That was definitely it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I was out mowing lawns. You were out there just scrubbing. You were probably doing it by hand. Like give me the Dawn dish soap, Ma. I can clean this trash can. But take us back down memory lane. Like you don't end up in the service industry by accident. How the hell did you get here cleaning trash cans?
First of all, I've always been kind of driven. Like I'm a Southern boy, outdoorsman kind of, background growing up. Right. So like when I went to school, like I was looking at degrees that didn't require a suit. Right. Like that's how I made decisions. Like, oh, that requires a tie. I don't have any interest in that. Right. And, so I went to about as blue collar college as you could probably have in the state of Mississippi. I went to Mississippi State and got out, and first job right out of school took me to Frito-Lay, did the Fortune 50 thing, absolutely hated it. And then I got a chance.
What were you doing there?
I got hired into a really selective management training program where basically I went through this real high level training program. And they essentially gave me like an $8 million section of Frito-Lay to operate. And I ran like Frito-Lay for a portion of Southern Arkansas, a little bit in Mississippi. And so I did that. And I mean, for 2 years right out of school, and just, man, it was terrible. Like it was the most stress I've ever had in my life was 25 years old or probably 22, 23 years old. Figuring out, if we had enough Doritos in the Dollar General, right? Like it just wasn't, it was not
problems.
It was not fun.
Problems.
And so after that, I a friend of mine in college, his family had started a pressure washing business in the oil and gas industry, cleaning drilling rigs. And so I moved to South Texas to work for them, kind of left the Fortune 50 thing, went straight to a family small business, right? And started selling wash jobs, cleaning drilling rigs in the oil and gas industry. Every time they drill a well, they have to move a rig and they have to make sure it's, going to not contaminate the roadways and the water and all that kind of stuff. And then I started building pressure washers. Some other stuff happened in life that it ended up starting my first business, which was a chemical company for the oil and gas industry, where I made biodegradable soaps and some downhole chemicals for the drilling stuff.
Was it all like commercial stuff? You're working with like commercial clients, business to business stuff?
Yeah. Like we're selling to like Halliburton, or we're selling to, Chevron, somebody like that. Right. But they're drilling section, right, where they're drilling wells. But these pressure washing jobs that we did were humongous. I mean, 5-man crews, 12 hours straight, rotating every 12 hours for days on end, sometimes, to clean a drilling rig. Right. So they were massive. They were much larger scale than what the average pressure washing company can ever imagine doing. Right.
Yeah.
And at the same time that I'm doing this, the folks that are my business partners in the Trash Can Cleaners today, Brandon Brzezowski and Lisa Brzezowski, they had started Billy Bob's Repair and Tire, and they came from kind of an entrepreneurial background as well, and built up the shop side while I was building up my chemical and pressure washing side. And then we became friends and neighbors over time. We just live in this community where it seems like everybody there is, doing something, right? Like running a business, starting a business, successful business owner. It's a small town, but just a lot of people that way. And we ended up friends and neighbors. And like you said, trash cans smell terrible. And I was at the way I learned. So trash can cleaning probably didn't exist in the United States 10 years ago. That's why you didn't hear about it until just recently.
Yeah. It seems like it's still so in its infancy.
I tell people every single day when I'm talking to them about this industry that probably 99% of the potential market, still does not know about it. You can go out years on end and sell in this space, and probably, every day you could talk to 100 people and maybe a couple of them have ever experienced it or heard of it.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity of it is also the challenge, right? The opportunity is that almost every person, every business with trash cans is a potential client. But the challenge is that, how do you sell something to somebody that they didn't even know they needed or was available to them, right? So you got to figure out how to use somebody like Ashley to get in front of them. But anyway, so the funniest part of the story is probably how I learned about trash can cleaning. I was, I had this pressure washing background now. I had this chemical background. Had potential partners that were, mechanics, all that kind of stuff already. And I was at a party one night with a bunch of friends, and this guy starts telling me he's cleaning trash cans in Austin. And it's just like, you're sitting there thinking about, like, man, that makes so much sense. Like, I've never heard of that before, right? And this was probably 2015 or 16.
And then you're thinking, like, are people doing that on my street and I just don't know about it? Like, is this happening around me? Like, where have I been?
Yeah. And so my thought at the time mostly was, well, heck, I bet this guy could use my chemicals for cleaning trash cans, my soaps that I make, right? That was my original thought. So fast forward a year, the oil and gas industry crashes, like into 2014, beginning of 2015, like nothing that I did wrong or my business did wrong. We lost 70% of our business in a single month just because the drilling rigs that we sold to, which were our customers, just stacked out, like they were gone. Was
that politics? Was it economics? Was it a bit of both, or what caused that massive?
So oil price, I don't remember, let's see, back in into 14, 15. I'm sure it's a little of both, but it's oil economics are a little independent, right? Like the economy can be doing whatever, but the price of oil is high enough. It's just say drill, baby, drill, right? Like that's what they say.
And that was Trump was in office then, or no? No, he wouldn't have been. He was after that.
That was 16. That was before he came in. Yeah, it was the end of Obama. The back end of Obama's, I guess, second term. But anyways, I'm at this party thinking about this. So a year later, oilfield crashes. Like, you know what? I'm gonna call that guy and see if I can, see if he needs some soap. So I call him up. I got his number that night. And this, like I said, probably
just
a year later.
Picking up dudes at parties.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah. What's up, bro?
So I get on the phone with this guy, and he's telling me how he's grown his business to three trash can cleaning trailers in Austin and all this stuff. And he eventually said something, and I was like, I know enough about pressure washers and I know enough about how they function. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. What he just said doesn't make sense. So I called my buddy whose house I was at that night. And I said, hey, what do you know about this guy that was at your house a year ago that I met in this bin cleaning business thing that he's doing in Austin? And he goes, oh, that guy, he's the biggest compulsive liar you'll ever meet in your life. He said he's a crane operator for us, and he sits in a crane 120 hours a week. They said he's an amazing crane operator, but he didn't have that business. They said this guy has made up stories about starting his own crane company, had our employees leave to go work for his fake company, like crazy stuff. But crane operators are so hard to come by, they could never get rid of him, right? Like
we just got to keep up with this guy. But at least you're always in the.
And so I was like, man,
as long as you're ready for a good story.
Yeah. So I was like, what'd you think about that trash can cleaning idea? And he's like, the funny thing is, everybody there that night talked about it, and we were all like, what a good idea, And so I go home. I start thinking about it. At the time, we had 2 kids in diapers, right? Trash cans smelling terrible. I'm like, I start looking at San Antonio.
Real bad.
Yeah. And I'm like, you couldn't hardly find it on the internet at this point in time anywhere. Like it was never done in San Antonio before. Most U.S. states probably did not have one. And so I'm sitting there looking at how we can start one of these in the San Antonio area and looking at the just few pieces of equipment that exist at the time. And again, one of my best friends, neighbors, they have the mechanical side. I have the pressure washing side. We're sitting there talking about it one night, and we're just like, let's just start one. Let's just do it. Like surely out of our population, we can sell enough trash can cleanings that this thing makes sense. We had no proof of concept, right? There was nothing really to go off of.
I got an idea. There's one way to find out. Let's go sell some
way to find out. And so I created just a cheap like Wix website or something like that with like a sign up form. Started posting it in some Facebook groups, neighborhood Facebook groups, just to see what kind of traction I had. I want to say the next day I had like 13 or 14 signups, right?
Yeah.
And so I called my partner Brannon and I said, hey man, I said, that fake website I made, or that fake website, that kind of startup website I made last night? He said, yeah. I said, I got like 13 signups. He's like, holy cow, let's go. And so
proof of concept.
Right. Right. So we looked around at what we could purchase from an equipment perspective. And with our backgrounds, we're like, man, we know more about pressure washers. We know about trucks. We know more about trailers, than anybody else we could talk to. And so we said, let's just build a truck. And the way we do things generally ourselves personally is like when we do something, we go all in. Like if you can, I'm going to buy the top of the line because we just feel like that generally is going to pay off for us. Right. Mm-hmm. And so this truck right here was actually truck number 1.
Oh, damn.
That we built for ourselves. And it took us a while to kind of figure it out. Is it
like a refurbished garbage truck?
No,
it's heavy duty.
We fabricate the entire body. So it's just a truck chassis. Damn. And then we fabricate out of aluminum the entire bed, the entire body, put all the equipment in, install the hydraulics, everything. And so again, we did it to start the service in San Antonio was the original thought process behind it, and go live with the service, I think in June of 17.
At this point, like in your guys' research, did you find anybody else that was doing it? And
there were people doing it across the country, just not many. Like there was probably half the U.S. states, I think at that point in time, probably didn't have one. Very few people had good SEO. Very few people were using social media at all to market the business at that point in time. And the people who I would say are my competitors now from a manufacturing perspective that were already in the marketplace, they were telling everybody, oh, you got to spend $30,000 a year on direct mailers. That's the only way to get business. And us being, I think more savvy, younger business owners, we said, we can use Facebook. Yeah. We can do something.
Yeah, I got better ideas.
Yeah, we got better ideas. And so we rolled the truck out in June of 17. And our first month in business, we signed up a little over 100 customers. Completely kind of like surprised us. Like we thought, we're going to probably lose money at this for a while. We have 2 or 3 other businesses, 2 locations. Like, it's okay if we take some time to figure this thing out. And then month 1, we're cash flow positive. It's like,
oh shit.
Right. Yeah. Like, whoa, that was not the plan. That was not what we expected. And almost immediately, I'm the guy that the only guy on Facebook, essentially at this point in time, probably putting anything on Facebook about trash can cleaning, right? I'm putting pictures of what our routes look like and how much month to month, like we were seeing them growth. And like, probably if you scrolled back far enough in our Facebook page today for the trash can cleaners, you'd find the exact post I'm talking about, just showing the growth over time and all that, us running routes and all this stuff. And we're just one of the few people doing that. And so people started contacting me saying, can you tell me about this? Right? Like I'm in Massachusetts or I'm in Colorado or wherever, and I want to get into this. And, I found you on Facebook, and would you tell me about it? Okay, sure. So I start telling about, our growth and how things are going. And then they want to know about my background, kind of like what I just said now. And then it was like, well, where'd you get that equipment from? I said, well, we built truck number 1 for ourselves. And this was actually truck number 2 right here. It was a bigger model. About a year later, we rolled that one out, which we now call a classic. But it's kind of like the classic truck of the big cleaning industry today. Yeah. But next thing you know, we've got 1,200 something accounts, and we've got this manufacturing side where we're sending trucks everywhere: Colorado, California, New Jersey, Florida. All over the place. And it started off as just trucks. And then people were like, hey, I can't afford a truck. Would you build me a trailer unit? So we started building trailer units. Then I started building like pickup truck skids, DIY components for a guy that wants to kind of go out and just maybe try to create his own thing, at least supply him with the right stuff to do it. Right. And fast forward to today, Ashley can probably speak to it, but I think we've got a really, really good reputation within this space as being, a top educator, a top, quality, company. Like we look at ourselves as trying to be like the John Deere or the Caterpillar of this space. And I use that analogy. My partner, Brandon, went through 2 of the highest level mechanic schools that exist for Caterpillar. He worked all over the world for Cat. Some of the craziest things that you'd ever.
I heard they have some heavy equipment. Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah. He worked on he worked on 22,000 horsepower ship engines in Germany, right? Worked on a Siberian pipeline project in Russia one time at a Russian prison camp, like stuff that you've just not heard of.
Just some run-of-the-mill type of shit.
Yeah, run-of-the-mill stuff, normal everyday
prison stuff.
Yeah, but it's awesome to have a partner.
We're just hanging out doing drugs. So
it's awesome to have a partner that's got a background that's that run-of-the-mill,
Yeah.
But so then we started building these things, and like it was pretty neat. We were sending units to major metros. The first one that major metro ever had one. Some states, it was the first one that state ever had. And for the first several years, it was just first time buyers, right? Like guy bought his first truck. I wonder if we'll ever see this person again, right? And fast forward to today, like a significant portion of our business is people coming back and buying truck number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then still all the people starting up going like, man, I've never heard of this before. And I can be like, yeah, there's like 5 of them in your city, but 99% of your market still doesn't know about it. Like, step on anybody's toes, they're not going to step on your toes. It doesn't matter your price point. Like, it doesn't matter if they're doing it for free and you want to do it for $100. Like, you're not competing with each other, right? There's just too many people to go after. So
I want to come back to that market potential or like market saturation, which is long distance. But Ashley, I want to hit you up here. When you first started doing social media, did you even know about bin cleaning? Like when you started doing Facebook marketing, was it even a thing in your spectrum?
No, not at all. When I first started, the niche that I thought I wanted to go after was chiropractors. I had a couple chiropractors under my belt. We were bringing them in patients. I had a couple of physical therapists. So that was actually where I was originally heading. But I was also so new when I started and I'm really known in like my community. So like I'm born and raised in Palm Beach County and never really burned a bridge. So I'm well liked. And I had a lot of local business owners asking me to do Facebook ads for them. They saw the results I was getting for like these other local, chiropractors. And so I was just kind of saying yes to a lot of like local service-based businesses. And then, like trash can cleaning chose me. I never chose it. And
that's the game. It chooses you. Yeah.
Like, it's just it was 20. So I started One Love Social in 2019. And then it was in 2020 when I first found out about trash bin cleaning, because I was a customer and never heard about it, never even crossed my mind that I wanted my trash can cleaned. But it was like, I lived in like a townhome community and it was COVID. So like the neighbors, like we would all just hang outside of our garages at the time. And
oh yeah.
And somebody ran over, like we have iguanas, like big iguanas in Florida. And somebody literally ran over an iguana right in front of my garage. And so the thing's like this, like dead. And my dog was like running up to like sniff it. So I was like, oh my God. So like I just
Did you get the back straps? Did you get the back straps out of there?
I was
quick?
about to say, this is the hunt that Ashley can get on. She can get on.
Yeah.
I can talk about
run over its head and get the back straps.
No, but I took a Publix shopping bag, wrapped the body in it, and like threw it in the trash can. So if you don't know, when you throw a dead iguana body in your trash can, like the salmon, it also attracts maggots and flies. Mm-hmm. And so it was like
stank. It attracts some stank.
Disgusting. And it was like 3 days later, I was taking the trash out, and I opened the lid, and I'll never forget it till the day I die. It was just like all these like little like maggot fly things.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen such a thing. And they flew up my nostrils, into my hair. They were in my eyelashes, and like the stench.
I bet you were calm as molasses. You were just like chill, just like, oh, it's no big deal.
No, yeah, I died, and like there was nobody was home to hold me in this moment. I was just so disgusted, and I didn't know what to do, and so I called like junk removal. I was like, you got to come here and like, you got to fucking throw out, excuse my French, you got to throw out this trash can. And they were like, well, it's owned by the city. I don't think we can throw it out, but you should call the city. They'll replace it. But like, I couldn't get this thing out of like my garage quick enough. And what do you know? Facebook heard me. And I got like, it was like hours later, after I'm like Googling all this, hours later, that was like, I got an ad. Hey, we clean trash cans. And I was like, oh, sold. And then I saw it was like $30, and I was like, shit, I would have paid $100 for that. Yeah. I would have paid any amount for this. And that's basically like how it happened. And, this guy rolled up to so I actually was, when he rolled up, because he didn't tell me the exact time he was going to be there. He just said, I'll be there today. When he rolled up, he blocked my driveway, so I couldn't actually back out of my garage. I was about to go to the beach and do like a TikTok, because that's when TikTok started becoming like big.
Oh yeah, to do cool stuff.
Yeah, I was going to roll it.
And that's a marketing tip, by the way. You block people in and make them watch you clean the can.
Yeah, well, it was good. It worked out for both of us, actually. And so he pulls up in this like weird truck, and I'm like looking at him. He's so proud. Like, he is so proud of himself, like as he's washing my trash can. And I'm like, man, that's passion, man. And I was like,
that's pretty hot, dude. What you got going? You got some digits? I'm like Brannon Fowler. I'm gonna pick you up at a party. Let's go.
Yeah, I was just like fascinated. And he was a firefighter, and so this is actually pretty common. Like what I found with like some of my clients.
Oh yeah.
Is they're a firefighter, or a lot of firefighters get into trash bin cleaning, because they have the time. So he was a firefighter, because I was chatting with him, and then I was. Did
you get his number or what?
Well, I did.
Okay, that's okay.
But it not like for business reasons.
Oh well, hey, you can multitask. You're a female. You can multitask.
So
Brandon and I can't do that shit. We can't multitask. You can multitask.
Well, yeah, that's a thing that like women are good at that, guys. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, we're awful. I can't like type an email and like chew gum. It's not happening.
So he told me, I told him, I go, look, I do Facebook ads for a living. Your ad was great. Good job, dude. And he told me that it cost him $300 to acquire me as a client. And he said that was, and I obviously knew I was spending like $30, $35 or whatever. And I was like, damn, that math.
Yeah, it's going to take you a minute to pay off this one, boy.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this truck, and I'm like, man, this guy, I don't know what he's doing. And he was like, could you do my ads? And I was like, I certainly can try, And so we ended up meeting for coffee. Like the next day, he came in with like a briefcase with all these brochures about trash bin cleaning to educate me, because he wanted to make sure that I could do the job. And I was like, I gotcha, sir. And it was probably month one was like a little rocky, because it's a subscription-based service, And so like I had to switch my marketing brain a little bit, because up to that point, I wasn't doing anything subscription-based. I was more like just like selling new patient deals for like chiros and, at like dentists and local businesses. So about month 2, what we saw was that I was, from our marketing efforts, he was now bringing in about like between like 30 and 40 new customers every month. And this was like on a $600 ad budget. It was like nothing.
Yeah.
But these people were signing up, Brannon knows, like for a recurring service. So not just one time. So monthly or quarterly.
Not just after they clean some salmon or throw a dead iguana in there. But
right. Like they're just like, keep it going. And so, it was around like month 5, I understood like what we were doing for his business. And I remember him talking about this amazing trash bin cleaning group. And it was your group, Brannon. His group's been around for a while. And he was like, I knew who you were before you knew who I was. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
So I was in your group. I'm like looking, and I'm like, all right, let me figure out about
You're like, yeah, do you have a trash bin cleaning business? Absolutely. Yes, I do. Let me in the group. I'm here to clean garbage cans.
Yeah. Brannon was letting anyone in then. I was like, you're trying to get people in the group.
Yeah.
Maybe not anybody, but I was in that group.
I would say I've actually been very selective in that group. So I run one of the largest Facebook groups that exist for this industry, but I have always been pretty dang selective about who got in there. And I've always been very selective about marketers, right? Because there's just so many of them get in and they're just really spammy. And I don't remember what Ashley did exactly to kind of like, win me over.
I was quiet. I didn't say a peep for 5 months.
Yeah, is that what it was? And but I think she started just like offering advice to people. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is somebody that's not just trying to spam the group, right? And then she like put up like some free content for people to use. Mm-hmm. And then I think just from there, it started a conversation. And then people started saying like, oh yeah, I've used Ashley, and like she's done a really good job. And so for me, like I want to be able to refer people to marketing professionals, right? Or to different professionals within industry, software, things like that. And she just kind of built a reputation within the group. And so there's only two or three people in the whole industry that I refer now. And she's one of them, but it goes back to just like, she just comes in and she's helpful, and it's not just a sales pitch, right? Like, I don't know how many times she's put up like, just like meme type things for the Super Bowl or like different holidays. Like, hey, run this on your Facebook page, no cost. Right. And, obviously it's a thing that's going to hopefully get her business, but at the same time, like it's just nice because a lot of people
you give some value before you get some value,
right?
Yeah.
It's more fun that way.
Yeah. And
go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say, with a lot of the Facebook marketers, you just don't know, like when somebody's coming into a new business, they don't know if this Facebook guru is actually Ashley or some dude that's sitting on his grandma's couch in their basement, like that started being a Facebook guru yesterday because he decided to be one, right? So
I think. And I was gonna say, I think that's the biggest onus on a marketing person. And Ashley, I recommend you all the time when I'm talking to my clients. Like and Michael Gregory on the Google ad side there's a one requirement I have of marketing people, and it's that they don't try to sell me, right? Because they're generally pretty good at selling stuff, which is great, but I need them to sell clients, not me. And I do bookkeeping, right? I watch what everybody's doing and I see who their marketing people are, and I can tell who is very engaged in selling their clients that their service is awesome versus who is engaged in selling more clients for their client, right? And there's a difference. I remember a specific conversation when I had a job in the corporate world, and we had a sales team out doing like food service sales, and my manager at the time, super good dude, and just had like a way of like cutting through the shit. There's one point in time where he said, yeah, that guy's great at sales internally. And I was like, what the hell do you mean? He's like, he can sell anybody internally about how good his clients are and how good he is, but he can't sell his clients shit, right? Like he sells for the client. He sells back internally. We make no money off of his clients. We have the worst relationships with these clients, but he, like, as the salesperson, he gets all the money because he's got these clients with this much revenue, and that's how he's incentivized. And so he never loses a client because he gives them everything and he sells it back internally and convinces the businesses why he's so good at sales. And I'm like, oh, it's just like a bad marketer, right? Like, you hire the wrong marketing company and they tell you why they do stuff so good, but they don't actually like sell stuff for you. They just sell you. It's as a fisherman, Brandon, I'm sure you know this, like, all the lures aren't for the fish, right? They're for the fishermen. They're to sell you. They're not to sell the fish, right? They just got to sell you that they look pretty and that they could catch fish. They don't actually sell the fish shit. Fish doesn't care. It's just about selling you. And so I think that's one thing I love about Ashley is, like, she never tried to sell me anything. That's like the number one requirement I have for marketing persons, that they don't try to sell me shit. They just try to help me. Right. And I do the same in bookkeeping. I think that's a super valuable lesson when especially when you're serving other business owners, is you don't need to sell them stuff. You just need to help them set expectations. They'll know if it's a good fit or not a good fit, but you don't need to sell them anything. You just need to help them.
Yeah, that's my Facebook group is Bin Cleaners Network North America. But like when you get in there, I think pretty commonly we hear that theme from people like, man, I just came in here, like they'll call me and they'll be like, I've been in your group, just like what Ashley said. Like, I had this conversation today. Guys, like, I know I'm going with you. I've checked out everybody. They're like, I'm in your group, and you're just teaching people constantly. Like, you're just answering questions, being educational, teaching people, like giving good insight, and then like, you know, like, that's who I want to do business with. And so then when they do business with me, then I want to be able to refer out good people too, right? Like Ashley and other people with other tools that are going to help those people be successful. And it's turned into a pretty good recipe, I would say, over the years. So,
hell yeah. I did a monologue episode earlier today. Like, I have a radio show earlier on Wednesdays and then late night happy hour show. And the radio show is meant to be like a panel of people and like a morning sports radio show type of thing. But everybody was gone. And so I just monologued it, which every once in a while, like, is fun, but it's really awkward talking for like 30 minutes to an hour. Like, all right, who wants to hear me talk about shit for an hour? Like, I don't even want to hear that. It sounds awful. But I did one on goal setting, and it is a good, it's a good test ground. I feel like my analogy for it is it feels like I'm a comedian at an open mic night, like testing some jokes, but I'm like testing some material so that when I get up on stage, I've got like my thoughts together and can like lay out a presentation format for everybody. So I'm delivering a bunch of content on goal setting because again, like, as a bookkeeper, like, I see the goals people are setting and I see which ones actually work and which ones don't. So I have a really weird lens of like what types of goals are actually useful to us as humans and which ones I see that aren't. And one of the things that I always find is we tend to set goals that are like static versus recurring. Like, oh, my revenue goal is this, which doesn't actually do us any good. It's not actionable. We can't do anything with it. Versus my goal is I want to build a bunch of relationships and I'm going to measure relationships. I'm not going to worry about the result, right? And I think that's a good thing for both of you and myself included is I don't look at how much revenue we do or how many clients we have, but I do look at client attrition. Yep. Like, our goal is like, we don't want to lose any clients. If we're losing clients, we're missing something, right? Ashley probably got annoyed because Ashley was a client and she left because our communication wasn't on point. And it was like super valuable, right? Okay, we need to figure out how to communicate to our clients where they want to be communicated to. And that's a shifting thing and different for different clients. But like, that goal of zero attrition helps us focus on the right thing instead of being like revenue. Like, revenue doesn't mean shit. We don't need more revenue. We need we do need more revenue, but only because we're not losing clients, right? Like, let's get back to the thing that matters. And so I think that's a super helpful piece of what you guys just said, which is let's just go add some value, right? Yeah. The result will happen. If we add a bunch of value, the pie will grow, the revenue and the profit will come. We'll be able to help a bunch of people. And man, it's just way more fun helping a bunch of people than being like, what's our revenue this month?
Yeah.
Like, the revenue is going to happen.
I don't know. Very rarely do I look at how much I've done in sales a month. Like, I just look at like how many people we're talking to, how many deals, or I don't necessarily add the deals up. I'm just like, yeah, we're talking to a lot of people. We're helping a lot of people. And one of the questions I get asked a lot, people are like, man, kind of some of the same questions you asked me. How'd you get into this and everything? And then people all the time are like, what do you what's your favorite part about it? And I'm like, I didn't know going into it, but it's really fun to help people start businesses. Yeah. Right. And then see a couple of years down the road, that guy's got 3 or 4 trucks now. Right. And it's turned into something, or they tell you like, man, it's the best decision I've ever made. Right. It doesn't always end up being the best decision somebody's made. Some people weren't cut out to be business owners. Right. I mean, that's true for everything, but a lot of people are, and, or they learn along the way, and then we can help them learn just basic stuff. Right. And point them in the right direction for people like Ashley that are going to help them. And I mean, that's just awesome when you refer, like, I don't know how many times I've referred Ashley out, and then somebody calls me up and they're like, hey, I hired Ashley, and like my ROI is like 4 or 5 times higher now, or whatever, than it was with me doing it on my own. Totally worth it. And so that's really cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, and I think that's the beauty of our like home service industries, especially, is that the relationships are always so valuable. And I mean, like, the reason we're talking here today is Ashley was like, Dan, you're a lot of fun. You do bookkeeping nerdy shit. Hey, you should meet this guy, that Brannon, that like has all these dudes that are trying to like start businesses, right? Like, our relationships are always so valuable. And if you find the right type of people, and Brannon, I think the hardest thing is always like, not everybody's cut out for it.
No.
And I don't have I've never told anybody like, yeah, you probably shouldn't own a business. Like, I've never told anybody that. There's a few people where I'm like, man, I should probably tell you that, but it's like, it's just not my place. And maybe I'm wrong. Like, I don't want to burst your bubble, but like, so many people, it's just like, hell yeah. Like, how do I enable you to just go for it? Like, what little tidbit do you need? What piece of advice do you need? What relationship do you need? And like you said, it's so fun watching somebody that you get to help influence, and all of a sudden you're like, next time you talk to him, you're like, how many trucks? What are you doing?
Right.
How did you get? And you're like, and it's just boop, 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 and you just get to watch them take off. It's just a blast to be a part of it.
Yeah, I take that exact same approach. Like, I never tell somebody they're not cut out for business, because sometimes they'll surprise you. But sometimes you can see it, from our side. Like, you're talking to somebody, and they just won't listen, or they won't take advice, or they just, But I've had a few of those people where it's like, they go out and I'm like, man, I don't know about that guy, or that lady. And they go out and they, especially with this industry, it's so new. There's not just some one set way to do it. Some people are going out and they're just focusing on trash cans. Some people are going out and they're developing an entire home services business. And the entry point is trash cans, right? They acquire the customer with no competition as a trash can cleaning customer, and they go out and they upsell a bunch of other stuff. So, when I'm selling to somebody, people want to have like straightforward hard facts, like how many trash cans can I wash with a truck? I'm like, man, there's so many variables, right? And so I always try to explain in depth, like how I don't give just a straight answer. Like, I try to give examples of different ways it can be done. But sometimes you see those people and you're just like, I just don't know about this guy. But sometimes I don't think it's my place to tell them that I don't think you're the right person for this, because sometimes they prove me wrong, and it's good to be proven wrong.
Well, I've been proved wrong by people. I mean, I remember like the person I least expected to be awesome. We had a bunch of maid service businesses back in the day. And I remember this happened like back to back. And it's just it was a really good lesson to me in recruiting and hiring. Is I had the best interview ever. And like, we were hiring for a technician, like maid service cleaner. And during the interview, I was like, hey, we also like kind of need a manager. And like, based on your experience and your ability to communicate here, I think like, maybe like we'll get you trained on cleaning, but that might be a fit for you. Like, you're aggressive, you're like ready to go. And then I had an interview with the gal, and I was like, man, she couldn't like problem solve her way out of a brown paper bag. Like, she's just a lost soul. But I'm just gonna dumpster hire her because I need a human, and she has a pulse, and she showed up.
Perfect.
The one that interviewed great was the worst person I've ever hired. The worst. She left the other gal stranded on the side of a road. Like, she was the manager. She like was the one that called in the day after Thanksgiving when she's supposed to be the manager and everybody's supposed to come to work because we have houses to clean. She was the one that was like, oh, I can't make it. It's like, huh? Like, you are the manager. Absolutely, you can make it. This is your job to be the one that makes it because everybody else is going to call out because you're the manager. You got to make it. The other gal, she never missed a day. She was so dependable, reliable. The only knock on her, which goes along with her interview, is like she had gotten in a bad car accident and had some brain damage, and she had no filter as a result. So there were times where she would communicate to a homeowner in a way where you're like, Erica, you can't like, don't engage in that political or racist conversation with a homeowner. Like, that's not going to go well. Like, but she was such a good cleaner, and she was so dependable and reliable and such a sweetheart. It was just like, oh my God, like either I'm the worst judge of character or just like, you know, the interview phase that we have just isn't the right lens to find the right person. And I feel like it's the same with clients. Sometimes it's like, man, they're just not going to make it.
Well, and sometimes you're wrong the opposite. Sometimes you're wrong the opposite way too, right? Like sometimes somebody comes in the door and I'm like, this guy is going to be or this lady is going to be a superstar. Like they've got everything. And then sometimes they just they go out there and then I don't know what it is. They don't have the work ethic. They don't have whatever. They just think that, you know, it's a genius idea and, you know, 1,000 customers are going to show up tomorrow. But I will say that generally you can tell the ones that are going to be pretty dang successful. Like, pretty often, like you talk to them and they just get it, right? And it's not always existing business owners, but it does seem like anybody that's got a little bit of prior business ownership always has a little bit of a leg up, right? Like they've done a lot of things. So many people, I think, when they start that are brand new, they get in and then they're scared to spend money on marketing. Seems like that's one of the big ones, right? Like, they're like, okay, I bought this $150,000 truck, and they're like, what's next? I'm like, well, you got to now go get clients, right? Like, and I've got some ways that I provide for free that they can do, but you might need to spend a little bit more money, you know, if you want to put another lure in the water, you know, fishing like this pole's going to catch a few fish over here, but you might need to throw another one over here on this side to see if you can't catch some more, you know? And it seems like that's the one challenge I think a lot of new people have is they're scared to spend money on marketing.
Yeah. I feel like, so I'm on calls all day long, you know, with home service businesses, but a lot of trash bin cleaning, potential trash bin cleaning businesses, whether they're just starting out or they've been in it for a little bit, or they're like doing their due diligence. And what I have seen is the ones that make it, the ones that come back, so like it is kind of seasonal. So, you know, we'll have clients that are here for like, you know, 4 or 5 months and then they winterize or then they, you know, stop and then they come back. But I always notice the ones that don't come back are usually the ones that have a corporate job and they're doing it as a side hustle. So this is their first, you know, business, and they didn't know how much really went into doing business. Or I also see a lot, like they spend all this money, right? They're getting the truck, they're so excited, but they forgot about the marketing piece and they have no budget. So when and you know, like what we do with trash bin cleaning, and like, I tell everybody, I'm like, look, you just need to start at least $600 to $700 of monthly ad budget. And I mean, that's the bare minimum. And I am so shocked sometimes when people are like, oh, and there's a management fee. I'm like,
yeah, dude. Facebook doesn't pay us to do our job.
Yeah. But the ones that get it and the ones that I always tell them too, I'm like, look, I don't know that we're the cheapest. Okay, but we're not the highest.
But who wants to hire the cheapest person? Right, like that's a recipe for disaster.
You'd be surprised, but I, you know, it's also in a lot of their defense. Some of my competition doesn't live here in the United States, and I actually like them a lot. Okay, but they're living like kings wherever they are, and so they can offer. You know, they offer their services like it's disgusting how cheap. But I always yell at them. But I have a lot of people who come to me and say, look, you might be a couple $100 more, but we really want to go with you because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, because you understand how the hell our business works, because you actually have been out there or have hired this service or know anything about how this thing works where we are, where the customers are.
Ashley's been to our shop in Texas. She's been to our shop. She's ridden in our trucks. She floats a picture around of herself in a trash can that we cleaned here and then put her in.
They don't call me the trash can queen for nothing. I'm committed.
I'm in there. I'm in that sumbitch. That's right. Ashley, you've probably run into this before, but we run into this at Higher Lead Chill, and I think it's hilarious. And Michael and I are partners in Higher Lead Chill, Michael Gregory from Click All Sell. And I always think it's so funny when people are like, oh my God, I got to like turn off my marketing. I don't have any employees. And we're like, the fuck is wrong with you? Like, somebody's out there hiring employees, and we run into it in Hire Lead Show where like, you want me to spend $300 in ad boosting? I'm already paying you guys $400. And it's like, yeah, for a person that's going to make you $200,000, and we're telling you might need to spend $1,000 a month in total. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, the most important thing in your business, like the truck, no offense, Brandon, the truck doesn't make any money unless there's a human in it. This probably doesn't go for long. Maybe 10 years, that truck's going to be doing its own thing. We don't need a human in there anymore. But it always baffles me when people are like, well, I'm spending $5,000 on marketing, but I got to turn it down because I don't have any employees. And it's like, no, you're just being dumb. Like, you take some of that marketing budget, you probably only need like 2,000 of it. You don't even need all 5,000 of your marketing budget, like, but turn some into like hiring the most important thing in your business, which is the human that your clients see, that they interact with. And then you can get back to spending all your marketing budget because you actually have people to go do the work. Like, what did you think was going to happen? You're in the service industry. You got a service. They need service. You need humans to do the service. That's what you need. So go get a human, like a good one. Don't do what I did and hire the shitty one to manage everybody. But that one always baffles me when people like cancel their marketing because they don't know how to recruit. And I'm just like, like what a kind of cart before the horse type of shit are we running around here? Like, it's kind of the same budget, really. It's just,
it is.
You need both. You need both.
You never need just one thing.
Right.
Yeah. You need both. It is a struggle. But you know what? I will say this because we've specialized in trash bin cleaning for like the past 5 years. And I will say in the past 2 years, what I have seen is this feels really bad to say. I've seen a smarter business owner coming in to play. So like a lot of the conversations that I'm having now are actually businessmen who are like, no, I get it. I'm spending this money on the truck, but I also understand I need to spend this money in marketing to get the customers. And I feel like they're just so much more educated than what they were in the past. And I think that's a lot of like, your Facebook group, Brannon, and in YouTube, there's a lot of stuff out there now that I think maybe wasn't super available, 3-4 years ago. But I do feel like it is a more sophisticated business owner now coming into trash bin cleaning. Like, they have investors. A lot of the guys I'm talking to, they're like, no, I don't want just one. They're talking about franchising. They're talking about having multiple locations. They are saying, okay, well, Ash, realistically, like, what can we expect in the next 2 years? Because I really want to get a second truck. When do I get that second truck? And so,
give me a timeline here. Set me some expectations. You're like, oh, you're serious.
Yeah, it is. It is. I really get excited when I get to, have conversations like that, with these business. But I do feel like it is a more sophisticated business owner that is.
Well, I'll tell you something else I've seen in probably the last 2 years too, is we've started getting private equity contacting us, starting to talk about like, hey, who can I buy? Like, we want to roll up a bunch of companies into a major company. Like, that conversation didn't exist a couple of years ago. And I've talked to multiple private equity companies that are starting to show interest in that. Our service that we originally created, we got to a crossroads in the business where, we're manufacturing all these rigs, truck, trailers, skids. And then we had 1,200 something accounts. And then what happened for us on our service piece was we started having people that were either local or at least regional. They were like, hey, I want to start one of these. From everything I've learned, I want to buy one from you, but I'm really concerned about buying my trash can cleaning system from you. And then I have to compete with you in the same market. Right. And I'm like, yeah, I said, you got to understand there's, so many clients, we'll never, cross paths with each other. Cause we
might hardly see each other's trucks.
Right. Ever. Right. And then, finally somebody came in and said, well, what if we're both going against the city of San Antonio? Right. There's only one city of San Antonio. And I was like, man, that would be tough. Right. Like, I would hate to take a job out of my customer's pocket, but at a job that big, you're talking about a potential multi-million-dollar contract, right? Mm-hmm. And so we actually ended up selling our service piece, and it eventually became Triton Cleaning Services. He bought 3 or 4 trucks from us, added a pressure washing division, and he was one that used trash can cleaning as the entry point into a home, right? Like, he would go in and say, okay, $30 a month trash can cleaning, that's my entry point. I'm not competing with anybody for. And once I get in there, now I'm going to upsell on pressure washing and some other stuff, but primarily bin cleaning and a little bit of pressure washing. But he just got bought by another really large local service company in the San Antonio market that kind of does everything, right? They do. I mean, if you need a pest control spray, they're going to come do it. If you need a house re-roof, they're going to come do it. If you need a plumber, they've got plumbers. Electricians, they've got electricians. They had never heard of or seen trash can cleaning until they ran across Triton, which was our original service. Mm-hmm. And they just bought him for like $1 million. And it was the first $1 million deal that I've heard of within the industry. There may be others, but that's the first one that I'd heard of. And so that's kind of cool because we're starting to see that bigger money come into the industry. And I think the next 5 years is going to be pretty neat at what happens.
Oh, especially with recurring service companies, like that improves the valuation so much because it's right. You don't have to, like, the brand is built and the route is built. So here's a question for you guys. I don't know which one of you I want to answer first. Maybe whoever wants to answer it first. You guys get to decide. You can fight over it. But I feel like there's this spectrum between we need to go get the most amount of clients possible and we're going to market all over a range versus, sorry for my pinky. I broke my pinky playing football. It's great for drinking a beer though. It like holds my beer.
It just holds your beer up. Huh?
Pick the strong pinky.
Yeah, it's like rocked. My kids always try to bend it straight. And I'm just like, no, like it's locked in, man. But so you've got like these two spectrums. You've got the one end where it's like you've got route density, and we're gonna get this route as tight as freaking possible, and we're not gonna market outside of that. Versus like, hey, we're gonna go big and market to the entire city of San Antonio and like build the route as we go. And we're like at first our cogs are gonna suck because we're gonna be spread out. But we're going to go big and then it'll like narrow in our cost structure and tighten up our routes as we continue to get more clients. Is there a right answer in there?
Yes.
Where do you want to be?
Yes. I would say no, but
Ashley, go. You go first.
Ways, but this is how I feel about it as a marketer. Okay. Primarily, we're doing social media ads, Facebook and Instagram. So I think, based on the results that we're getting all of our clients, to go broader. And I'm not saying like go an hour outside of your service area. Right. I think that's crazy. Right. But instead of focusing on like a 5-mile radius where it's like 100,000 or less, no, for Facebook and Instagram, you do want to go broader. And so I always say about 200 to 300,000 is a nice audience size to start.
Humans or houses?
Population size.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, if they're homeowners or just population size, because that's how the Facebook and Instagram work best. Is you do need a decent sized audience. Now, there's always anomalies. Like we got our guy out in Lacey who at the time Lacey, Washington, was very small and he was killing it. And he is killing it. But for the most part, for Facebook ads to really, like lead gen ads to really do what you want them to do in a local service area, we do need at least 200 to 300,000 people in a service area. So that's why, and I say this because I like to set the expectations when I'm on the call. I'm like, look, that's fine that you want this route density, but what we do probably won't work the way that you and I want it to when you have 50,000 people that you're trying to target in one area. Mm-hmm. There's anomalies. So that's my answer. I think a little bit broader is best.
So in a big city, I agree with Ashley, because so when we started in San Antonio, we actually took the whole city approach. And what I think the reason you can take the whole city approach, or at least a large city, you can take a huge chunk of a large city, is the most frequently that you're probably going to provide a trash can cleaning service is once a month. Like that's the most frequently you're going to be there. So every month's got at least 4 weeks. So what we did is we took the whole city of San Antonio when we started, and we didn't do any paid ads like what Ashley talked about exactly. We made 4 quadrants, and as people signed up, they went into those quadrants. And a year later, we might drive 35 miles across town to get to that quadrant. But once we got there, it was just a handful of miles
on the way back
for the rest of the day, and that worked. But I have a guy that's in the town of, and this, we see this in the forums all the time because all the big city guys will pop up and say, "Oh, you'll never make it in a smaller town," right? Like because they see what they get in a large city. But like I have a guy that's in a town with like 30,000 people on the Mexican border with no surrounding population. And, there's probably not enough customers for him to hire somebody like Ashley at all. And that probably wouldn't work for him. But he's one that he's gone out and gotten on with waste haulers where he washes in bulk for waste haulers. He uses trash cans as that entry point. When he gets in with a trash can to a home, now he starts window washing and pressure washing, and he upsells all this other stuff. He's not having to compete with anybody else for that client because he got the entry point from trash can cleaning, and then diversified his service offerings and turned that $300 a year home into $1,000 a year home or $2,000 a year home, right? So it can be done in smaller areas too if needed. Yeah. But the vast majority of people starting these are in mid to large metros, mid-major to large size metros. And in that scenario, I have people all the time will tell me like, I just want to start in a little 5 square mile area or something. I'm like, look, I would go much larger than that. I mean,
give a little more room.
Like, if you're in Houston, Texas, I mean, shoot, man, you can take, if you're on the west side of Houston, you can take the west side cut in half. There's 3 million people on the west side.
I'd say the west side of Houston is its own massive city.
Right.
I grew up in central Wisconsin in a small town. And like, when I think about densities and stuff, I think about that. And I'm like, man, if I'm in Minneapolis and I have to go halfway across town, it takes me a half an hour.
Yeah.
If I'm back in Walsall, Wisconsin, I can get anywhere in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't like, right. So it's like the route density is so different too.
Yeah.
I remember like growing up, it was 25 minutes to the golf course we played at, like all the way across town to get to the nice golf course that I got to play at for like 2 years of my life growing up. Thanks, Mom and Dad. It was awesome. But man, like 25 minutes felt like forever.
Mm-hmm.
Now 25 minutes is like, oh, like I run that to get to my kids to practice every day.
Yeah.
To get them to whatever, to soccer, to this or that. So it's like I think the route density is a little different in a small town too, because half the time there's not even a damn stoplight. Right. Like it's just different. Like your traffic is so different in a big city compared to a small town, that a small town, like everybody's a mile away.
Well, oftentimes in this, if somebody wants to start in a smaller town, like maybe 1 week is just in that town and 1 week is the next town over and 1 week's in the next town over. And then you can actually be kind of a regional supplier or service provider, right? Assuming those small towns aren't too terribly far away from each other, you can make that work too. And that's what a lot of my guys that are in smaller populated areas will do. They're not going to work just their town. They're going to work 4 or 5 towns,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And capture more population that way.
But I imagine you're a bit at the mercy of whatever the garbage routes are. Like, how do you coordinate the route of bin cleaning around the garbage route? Do you have to try to be like right after? Like, is that the play?
Yeah. So there's basically 2 ways to run the service. One is the same day it's emptied, and one is the next day. We originally ran a same day service, and there's pros and cons to everything. And you get on the Facebook forum, and people are very adamant that their way is the best way, right? Like there's no way it can be done another way because I'm so successful.
Damn experts. There's a bunch of damn experts out there.
And I'm like, well, you don't know that this guy that you're arguing with has got 4 more trucks than you have, and he's doing it the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
So it can work that way too.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the vast majority of people today in the industry run a next day service, right? So when somebody signs up, what we did, we originally thought we needed to know, like in our questionnaire when they signed up, we asked, what waste service provider are you? Do you have waste management? Is it the city of San Antonio? Is it C6 sanitation, best waste, Metro Waste? Like, who is your waste service? Like, we originally captured that data. And then after a while, we're like, man, that doesn't even matter. I just need to know what day I can be there.
Yeah.
And then so we dropped that question eventually. Some people still collect it for whatever reason. But we dropped it and we ran a same day service. And one of the biggest things that I think most people overlook is, like, for us, we didn't really pay that much to our driver because it was a pretty non-skilled job to do. And when we ran a same day service, one of the biggest things that made the hiring process work for us is, like, we didn't ask this guy that wasn't paying all that much money to come into work until noon every day, because we're running a same day service and we're trying to let the trash hauler get way ahead of us on their pickups.
Yeah, you don't want to have to start early in the morning. What the hell are you going to do if you start early in the morning?
Right. There's no way you have to let them get ahead. Right. And so, but when I was hiring somebody and that really wasn't their wage was pretty low, I mean, he could drink Mountain Dew and play Xbox all night long if he wanted to. And if he came into work at noon, I'm cool with that. If he came in 30 minutes late, no big deal. You just got to go out and finish your route today. I don't care what time it got done. And then the other part of a same day service is that because we were starting late, we had a lot more time in these neighborhoods after 5 o'clock, right? And that's when everybody's home.
Golden time.
Right. So people are coming home and they're like, holy cow, what is this thing with this trash can steaming at my neighbor's house that I've never seen before? When you run a same day service. So this is, generally it's easier logistically to run a next day service, but the con of the next day service is that you're probably running your routes primarily when everybody's at work, right? So when you're in these nice neighborhoods cleaning trash cans, they're ghost towns for the most part, And that same day service, again, put us later in the day where we would get seen. But routing is definitely much easier on a next day setup just because it can be very linear. You're not worried about it.
Do you have do you have a preference between either? Or are you like, hey, whatever works for you?
If I was going to do it all over again today, I would probably run a next day because of the simplicity of the routing. That's how I would probably personally do it if I did it over again. Next day just simplifies so much, and you can, if you want to get your employees home at, in time to have dinner with their families, for the right employees, that's going to be a critical thing too, right? Yeah. And so, or an owner operator too. That's the other thing. A lot of people come to this and they're an owner operator, and when they ask this question, I'm like, "Are you going to be an owner operator?" And I said, "At least to start up, I will." Yeah. And I'm like, "Do you want to be at home with your family 5 nights a week or not?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course I want to be home for dinner." I'm like, "You better run a next day service then. That way you can start at 7 o'clock in the morning and be done at 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon." Do
you see guys that offer both, where it's start in the morning and run until 2, and then they do the stuff that was next day, and then they start somebody at 3 and do same day for a few hours with somebody that's part-time?
Yeah, I would say if you probably not in that sense, but I would say if you really get into the bigger guys, like they really want to truly maximize their routes, there's going to be scenarios where we'd call that like a hybrid route, where some of the routes next day, some of the routes same day. And like we actually, within ours, we were primarily same day, but we ran like a certain Wednesday that in zone 1, as example, was the city of San Antonio. The center of the city of San Antonio trash service was Monday and Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. So we had Wednesday that was wide open. But in like week 4, we had a huge Wednesday in a whole different part of town. Well, when week 4 got pretty close to full, we're like, well, heck, we can run, a next day or whatever, and then put it in that open Wednesday and eventually fill our calendar out and balance everything out a little bit by doing
the game
like
a little bit.
So, yeah. It doesn't happen to me. I was just having a conversation with one of my Indiana customers the other day, and he was talking about, like, he's brand new and he's like, I got this scenario. What's going, how am I going to work this? I'm like, man, I said, I think you're just going to find, like, as you develop, you're going to get into this town and you're going to find this opportunity. And you're just, that they told you that trash day is these certain days, but you're going to end up finding that like 2 of those trash days are much larger than the other ones. And that's going to, provide capacity for other days. Right. And maybe you can go, if you're running the next day service, but the day before is really light. Well, once you fill up that next day, maybe you go that same route, you go back and do a same day and a next day to fill that day back in on that calendar, Yeah. And then there's just pretty good tools now from routing software and all that kind of stuff, CRM, to help people run these businesses. So pretty cheap, and at least to start up with, and just automate so much for you. I mean, it can be, I don't want to sound simple, but it's not a complex thing to do if you can set your territories up well.
Yeah. Do you have a routing or CRM software that you prefer or recommend?
Yeah. So when we originally started, I ran Jobber. That's what I ran. I think that's probably what Ashley still kind of pushes, but because of the automation that's built into some of the new ones, there's a guy from the industry that actually runs a couple of our trucks out in California. And he's a software developer, I guess, by trade originally. And he developed the software for his own application. And he kept showing it to me, and I kept, man, turn this into a retail product, right? Like, he's like, I don't know if the industry's big enough to be worth it for me. And so he finally launched it, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. It's called Jobatory. Okay. Again, if I was going to go back and do it all over again today, I would probably run Jobatory because of the automation, but I think some of the marketing stuff is where you kind of fall back on Jobber, right? Because of the lead collection, right? Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, right now, like when this, we're recording this, like there's Jobatory, right? And Jamie's great. Jamie is probably one of the smartest guys I've talked to, knows the industry inside and out, has a trash bin. I mean, it just makes sense. And everybody like Jobatory is great. And I think especially from a routing perspective, there's Jobatory, there's iService. Russ has iService. There's I'm a Jobber girly for life though. I'm a big Jobber fan. From a marketing standpoint, I like Jobber because what we do for our clients is we get them leads and they need a place to like put those leads. And in Jobber, it's just super easy to do that. So that's why I say that I'm a Jobber girly, but there's functionality that's being, updated all the time with some of the newer, softwares. But right now I'm Jobber girly because it helps my clients when they get their leads in to go ahead and invoice them and to get them on their routes. And it's the least amount of friction. And with Jobber, I feel like when they're using One Love Social, the conversion rates between 70 and 90%. So I just want the best for my client, but I think Jobatory also has this availability like now when it comes to leads. So I like them all.
With our window cleaning and pressure washing business in the Twin Cities, like a huge requirement for us, we have, I don't even know how many Andy has now. At one point we had 15. We're probably pushing like 20 transit vans running around. And man, we used to use Service Autopilot and trying to like route stuff manually. And it was like a 2 to 3 hour job. And you could pay extra, but it was already really expensive. And we switched to Service Monster and they have everything like color wheeled. And it's like purple jobs, go with purple jobs, and yellow jobs, go with yellow jobs. And man, it took like a 3 hour process. It took it down to like 10 minutes maybe to be like drag and drop. Right. And it was just the stupidest, simplest, like, oh. And the other thing that we would always look at revenue per day is like our capacity filler. So we weren't like trying to fit jobs into future routes. We were selling window cleaning, right? So we'd be like, we can do $8,000 a day, fill the day up and we'll route it later. Right. And no CRM would show you how much money you had scheduled on a day.
Yeah.
And Service Monster now has like money by route and money by day, and you can just see it. And it was like, hallelujah. It was like just a couple like super simple things, but it was we ended up picking Service Monster for that reason because routing was so important.
Yes.
The phone app wasn't as good as some other things. Every CRM has all of its silly nuances and you have to adapt your processes to it to some extent, but we ended up choosing Service Monster for that reason, is just the routing of so many jobs. When you have 50 jobs in a day, like how the hell do you piece that all together and make it all work with the notes and who Mrs. Jones wants this time of day? And this for you guys, it's like this bin, the garbage company is going to dump at this time of day, so we can't go there before this, and so we need to know that it's after this. There's a lot of weird constraints to juggle.
Yeah. Was this Kahuna?
Yep.
Well, that's a One Love Social client.
Damn right it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a referral. It's a referral. It
was. Thank you.
But it is so funny. It's like it's such a simple thing, but damn, it's time consuming. It can get so damn time consuming to try to figure all that stuff out.
I would say like what you talked about with some of the revenue type stuff, that's the more advanced stuff that like Jobatory has over, say, like a Jobber. Jobber doesn't have that. Jobber's a little bit more rudimentary. Yeah. But like even back in like 2017, 2018, when I was running Jobber, it still was, my wife did most of our admin, and like the way that we set up our routes, it was so simple in those quadrants, and the route structure, the way it builds its routes in Jobber is not as advanced as Jobatory again, but these routes are fairly simple. So like even with that more basic software, like this was not a complex, but well, I should say, if you do it right, it shouldn't be a really complex business. Some people overcomplicate everything, right? Like they make things that are really simple very difficult. But so that's always been one of my like thought processes with this, is like, how do I make this business more simple? Because at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is make a stinky trash can not stink, right? Yeah. So how do I make everything in the middle pretty basic? And, even with something that was less advanced than Jobatory today, with Jobber being less advanced, we spent probably less than an hour a day in admin, like less than an hour. I mean, so even that still is not bad. It just doesn't take much to run one of these businesses if you set it up right.
I mean, anything is better than carbon copies. I don't know. And I tell people this. I have people that book a bookkeeping demo with me, and they're usually in like the $100,000 to $200,000 range of revenue, and they're like, "I need this bookkeeping stuff." And one of my questions is, "What CRM do you use?" And every once in a while, I'll get somebody that says, "Oh, I just invoice out of QuickBooks and I use Google Calendar." And I'm like, I will not let you sign up for my service until you get a CRM. I'm not here to take your money, but I am here to help you. And I know for certain that a good operating CRM will help you. Like, I don't care if you're 70 years old. It's the fucking 21st century. Get yourself some damn technology, get a good CRM, and I will help you after that. But you're not even operating at your best right now. So who gives a shit about your bookkeeping results? Because they're just going to tell you that you're not efficient. And I can tell you a big reason why you're not efficient is because you don't have a good CRM. And I already know that's what I'm going to tell you. And so go get a good CRM and we can do bookkeeping later. Like bookkeeping is never a requirement. It's just a tool for the business owner. The IRS doesn't require it. You can do your taxes without it, right? It's literally just, and your employees don't care and your customers don't care. So go get a good operating CRM and we'll cross the bookkeeping stuff later. Like that's just a tool for you to make decisions, but you're already making such bad decisions by not having a CRM that I can tell you the first good decision to make is go get a good CRM to run your business with. And then come and talk to me.
Cheers.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. It is. I've met one person in thousands that got a CRM and went back to paper. And he was a younger dude. And I was like,
that's wild.
Why did you do that? And he's like, oh, I'm not staying there. I just didn't like the one I picked. So I'm just like, I just went back because I didn't want to go through all the hassle of setting it up. So I'm just like observing all the other ones. That was the one person that ever started setting up a CRM and went back. Now, Rob Anderson has set up 78 CRMs and canceled them. And I think he's still with Customer Factor to this day. I think this has been happening for a decade, that he's tried every other CRM 5 times and has never switched from Customer Factor. I'm pretty sure he's still on Customer Factor.
The oldest one.
Yeah. Steve's just doing enough to keep him interested.
Good for Steve.
Good for Steve. Bad for Rob.
I don't know anybody that's on Customer Factor. Yes, I do. I do actually. There's a handful from like old BBB. Yeah,
I know a few like couple $1 million businesses that are still rolling on Customer Factor, and it's cost effective and they got all the data they need. It's still, Steve's making advancements. Steve's doing his thing. He's hired a few people. It's not just Steve anymore. So now we can, that's my understanding, is we don't all need to worry about what happens if Steve dies. Because that was always the concern with Customer Factor, was like, well, what happens if Steve dies? Then what? Like, do we have a thing? But he's building a business over there. Here's my question for you guys is, there's obviously a lot of runway in trash bin cleaning, and we're at the infancy of it. Mm-hmm. And so how fast is this going to go? Having watched, like I mentioned this early at the start, like we've seen it happen in lighting, saw it happen in pressure washing before that, garage floor coatings.
Yeah,
as well, right? There's been some industries that are just like, and they just kind of blow up. Is it happening right now in trash bin cleaning? Is there still more that needs to happen? As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys know this. This is probably a thing I know that I can add some value here, but like damn near every house has one. I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, like damn near every house.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. I'm just telling you. I don't know if you guys knew that. I see it. I see it happening. Some
of them have more than one.
I got 3.
Some of them have more than 2. Yeah.
I got 3. I got the yard waste bin. I got the. I have a different question, and I just get excited, so I was going to ask it. But let's do this trajectory question first, and then I'll come to my other question. If I don't forget about it, I might forget about it. We'll see. But what is the trajectory? Like, how fast is this thing taking off? What do you guys see coming down the pipe?
It's got a long ways to grow. It is growing rapidly, I would say. I don't think it's ever going to grow as fast as, say, pressure washing or some of those industries. And the reason is the barrier to entry is significantly higher. Our equipment, my lowest cost unit is like 40 grand.
With the shorty?
Well, that's the skid. Like that's the leverage based skid that we just came out with, right? That's my lowest cost unit, right? You can go buy, pressure washing. A guy's like goes buys a Ryobi pressure washer at Home Depot for $300 and says he's a pressure wash business, right? Builds a website.
But at the same time, couldn't a guy just like roll up with a pressure washer and spray out a garbage can horizontally?
He could spray out 3 or 4 and he's going to quit. Because all that stuff's going to blast back in his face. It's terrible. You're covered in nasty stuff all day long. So you can technically do it.
I think you just described what I looked like the last time I sprayed out my trash can.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then when you do that, you don't really have a good way to collect your wastewater or the residual.
No, I do. I let it go down the hill towards the neighbors.
Right. But we don't encourage that too much. Okay. And then all of our systems are. All of our systems are hot water too. So a lot of your sanitizing has come out of the hot water system. And again, most pressure wash companies don't even have hot water on their rigs, right? They're using almost all chemicals. So like I tell people often, they're like, man, this stuff costs a lot. I'm like, well, yes, it is expensive, but honestly, if you have the ability to get in, that is a nice barrier to entry because you know that 400 people are not going to pop up in your market tomorrow because they can go to Home Depot and buy one. Like it's going to take time for that market
to get to
saturation. And I still think we're a long, long, long ways away. And, I don't know, there's a few hundred people starting these a year, probably would be my guess. And then the guys that are in the markets are adding a few trucks a year and they're growing really well and they're starting to be very profitable. But yeah, I think eventually it gets to that point, but it's going to be a much slower climb because of the barrier to entry. That's my opinion anyways.
Yeah. Ashley, you're nodding your head a lot. You agree with that?
I agree. But, I do hear a lot. So because I'm in lighting, right? Mm-hmm. I have tons of lighting clients. The niches that I'm in are just so strange, but like tons of lighting, tons of trash can cleaning. But a lot of the lighting guys didn't start out lighting, right? Like that's just become hot in the past 2-3 years. Some clients 4, but a lot of them started out with their exterior cleaning businesses. And what they want to be able to get in front of all the homeowners as much as possible. So what I've seen from my end, especially when I'm on these discovery calls, is I see pressure washing companies and exterior cleaning companies coming in saying, you know what, I want to get on this monthly. I want to have like a subscription-based service, like trash bin cleaning, so I can see these clients at monthly or quarterly because they're looking at it as it's like a gateway to all the other services. Like, what you were saying before, Dan, whether it's like exterior cleaning or pest control or, lighting, right? So I'm seeing that. So I feel like that number hasn't the number of business owners that I've spoken to and that we've taken on as clients has increased in the past couple of years. It's just like other home service businesses getting into trash bin cleaning.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that there's acceleration and there will continue to be acceleration. It just won't be like pressure washing where wash where it was like today there was 1, tomorrow there's 400,000.
No,
it's not going to be at that pace because of the barrier to entry. From the equipment perspective, I think.
Which is good for the business owner, That's
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they hate the equipment costs when they start generally, but they also, a lot of them that understand that turn around and respect it. And that it's like, okay, that keeps a lot of people out of my backyard too. And I'm going to have some time to develop my market and establish what the price point's going to be around my part of town and, the standard and all that kind of stuff, because I know that 400 people, there might be one guy pop up. There might be 2 guys pop up in the next year, but there's not going to be 300 people pop up that can do this tomorrow.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm writing down the one thing that I was going to ask you earlier, but I'm not even going to ask you it now because I'm like, it just doesn't fit because here's a new question. I told you this is how it's going to go. I'm just going to like come up with questions as we go. I'm in Minneapolis and it's frozen here for 4 months out of the year. Yeah. So is there still a market to be out trash can cleaning from December through early March when it's 20 below?
Yeah. So I have people in your market that do it.
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe we may be mutual customers. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, in this industry, especially in the colder weather states, people tend to make a decision on whether or not they're going to be a year-round trash can cleaning company or they're going to be a seasonal trash can cleaning company.
Okay.
My personal recommendation, because I grew up partially in the Midwest as well, like I understand cold weather. When we build our systems, we try to build them to where they're really easy to run, as easy as possible to run in cold weather. And like I've even seen that come up in our Facebook group where a guy's like, man, I got this equipment from this company and I can't hardly run that thing in the winter, but I've got Brannon's equipment and here's a picture of me running 13 degrees outside, right? Obviously it's a water-based system, so there is more.
You got to keep that shit moving.
Right. You got to keep that water moving. There's some extra processes to make sure you protect your equipment so that you don't bust pumps and hoses and heads and all that kind of important stuff on your rig. But you can absolutely continuously clean bins in the wintertime. In fact, what we've seen is the retention rate for these clients. Like I can click over to a Facebook group right now and tell you about a post that I ran on retention one time. But I mean, most of our people, even in the cold weather states, they don't lose that many customers in the wintertime. They just see the new customer acquisition slow way down.
Oh yeah, I bet nobody's thinking about it. Yep.
Attrition's so low.
And attrition would be weird if you had to be like, hey, we're not going to clean your bin for the next 3 months, but we'll be back in March, right? Like then you're going to actually probably increase your attrition because they're going to be inclined to be like, damn, I got these 2-year-olds with diapers and somebody needs to come clean this bin. I got to go find somebody that's still working, right?
Yeah, you didn't care in January. It still stunk.
Yeah, it still does. Yeah. It still stinks. Those diapers still stink.
Diaper disasters.
We cleaned a diaper genie one time with ours. That was interesting.
I'm in the middle of potty training right now, so this all is just like it's real home. You
can't even when your can's empty and all those diapers are gone, it still smells. Unless you got
there's no get. I mean, there is getting rid of it. I would need to hire a service to get.
Well, yeah, all the trash can cleaning truck needs to do is clean, sanitize, and deodorize. Diaper disaster is gone after that.
Right, just gone. And between the diapers and the salmon, it's not like a double negative where they would cancel each other.
No, they add. That's called addition.
Just double nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it creates like you can see the smell coming out of our garbage can.
Somebody who has both of those would need monthly trash can cleaning because there's different levels, of nastiness.
Yeah.
Not many people offer weekly, but that could be, a thing.
What are the cadences? Is it is there a weekly, a bi-weekly, a monthly, and every other month? Like, what are they? Like, I ran maid service businesses and we had weekly, bi-weekly, and we called it monthly, but it was really every 4 weeks to put it on a recurring calendar we could stick with where it's like, oh, it's always Wednesdays. What are the recurrences that you guys offer or recommend offering?
I generally recommend a once a month, a once a quarter, and a one time or like an annual.
Annual.
Annual is kind of the way that it makes sense to sell it because then it's pre-sold job for the next year if you sell it as an annual. But those are the three that I would recommend. And again, sometimes people want to do things their own way and, they'll have 14 different offers. I'm like, man, it's just too much. It ought to be like going into Raising Cane's. They can sell you 3 chicken fingers, 4 chicken fingers, or 3 chicken fingers on bread. Like it ought to be very simple.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I recommend today is just a 3 offer setup where you're getting 2 cans included in that price.
Yeah.
And then you have a little price point, little indicator there saying like, hey, if you got more than 2, here's an extra charge for more than 2. But up to 2 cans once a month, once a quarter, or annually.
I'd have to agree with that, especially we're running all these ads, right? I feel like the clients that are doing monthly, quarterly, one time, or annually do so much better. Yeah. Because they anchor it, the one time's a lot more expensive. So then you're really left with either monthly or quarterly.
Right.
There are some that have monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, seasonal. And what is even seasonal? It's just, sometimes there's too many options. I like 3 solid options. I think most of our clients at least really want the quarterly because it's just easier and they can pack their routes a little bit more. So we usually will say like on our ads, most popular is quarterly.
Do you sell mostly quarterlies? Is that what your clients like across the board generally sell the most?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I always recommend too is like the one-time price should be really high. Like you should make your one-time price
$500.
$100. I've never recommended that high, but maybe we should. Maybe we should. I guarantee somebody would sell it.
Somebody's
They do. Yeah. Like, I mean, like it's not. I mean, the majority of like the leads and like people coming in, they do want the subscription. But you'll see probably like 10% that are just like, let's just do the one time and see if we like it.
Yeah, we used to see people would sign. So we would make our one time high, and the reason, like, oftentimes I'll talk to people that are in the industry, and they're like, "Oh, well, I've got this many, I've got this many customers, but only this many are reoccurring." And as soon as they say that, I know what the problem is. Their problem is their one time price is nowhere near high enough, right?
It's too easy to choose that,
right? And so we've always recommended from the start, like, make your one time really high so that when somebody lands on it and they go, man, it's $100 to get my trash can clean, but I can go get a monthly service for $30. I can go do 3 months of service for what it would cost me to do my can one time if I choose that. And then what happens is it turns into a Netflix account and they never cancel. They retain 90-something% of their clients every single year, and they just automatically drove them into the reoccurring model. I've even got a couple guys that don't even offer a one time or an annual. They just offer a reoccurring service.
Smart.
Yeah. Ashley, I don't remember if you were at the BBB, but Nate Ferrier once went over he does fleet washing up in like Michigan, central Michigan, northern Michigan. And he was like, I don't even give them options. I just tell them that everybody goes bi-weekly, right? And they can go bi-weekly or monthly, or like he just says, we do this bi-weekly. We're going to be here every 2 weeks. And his sales approach is, we do this every 2 weeks and we'll be here bi-weekly, and here's our bi-weekly price. And he just says it so many times that it's the only option.
Right.
And if they say, oh, we want to do it just once a month, he's like, oh my gosh, like, man, you're going to have the dirtiest stuff. God, we can clean it, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we just got to, right. He just acts like everybody does this bi-weekly. And like, truthfully, most people don't, but his sales approach turned into, like, we always do this bi-weekly, and I'm telling you as the professional that you want to do this bi-weekly, and bi-weekly is how we do it. And every other 2 weeks, we're going to be out here. And he said his ability to like sell bi-weeklies after that, just everybody does it because it's the only thing they know, because you don't even give them any options. You just say, and frankly, like, we do this in bookkeeping. We do our bookkeeping weekly. We're going to do it every single week. And we're going to check in with you every single week, and you're going to get an email from your bookkeeper every week. And then we'll send you a report at the end of the month. But we don't offer a bi-weekly bookkeeping or a monthly bookkeeping. We're going to do it every single week. And this is how we do it. We do it every single week.
It is.
Yeah, this is how we do it. And I've had people be like, well, we only need it this often. I'm like, well, yeah, but we don't. So we'll just do it every single week because that's how we do it. And part of it is it's easier for me to run that way. But I thought that was genius on Nate's part, is like, you just condition a client to be like, oh, well, I guess that's how this is done. Right. Because most clients don't come with an expectation of, they might come with like a preference, but they don't know.
They don't know. No. And because it's such an emerging industry, nobody knows about it. They don't even know what to think about it. So if we just tell them it's a subscription service.
Yeah. Everybody cleans their trash cans every other week.
Are you
crazy? Yeah. It gets picked up once a week. You're not going to clean it every week. Yeah. Like, maybe let it go 2 weeks. Maybe.
Even deeper than that, like, I have conversations with people and they're like, well, should I dry my trash cans? Like, after I provide the service for a customer, should I dry it? And I'm like, look, you are going to create the standard for what your customer expects. They have no idea what to expect other than they know a trash can shouldn't stink when you're done with it. Like, so like I have on my Facebook group, there's a post from years ago. Ashley may have seen it, where it's like Steven Crowder on like a college campus changed my mind, whatever. And he's sitting behind like a table, changed my mind about whatever topic. And somebody, put on there, changed my mind about, drying trash cans is basically what I changed it to. And, because it was just a conversation starter in the group, and a whole bunch of people are like, oh, the only way you can do this is you got to dry your cans, And I'm like, and all these other people are like, I've never dried a can ever. Right. And they're like, and then it starts this whole argument, like, well, how long does it take? One guy's like, well, it only takes a minute a can, dry it. And then I'm like, how many cans you do in a day? 60? You just lost an hour every single day. 5 days.
I have an idea. Leave the lid off. Leave the lid open.
Right.
That way, if it's wet inside, it's only because it rained out.
Yeah. But, again, there's people that do it and they have 6 and 7 rigs and dry every can. I'm like, well, more power to you if that's how you want to do it, But again, it goes back to the customer's expectation. Like, I'm like, if you start off drying cans and then suddenly stop drying cans, your customer's going to feel like they got shafted on something.
Yep.
But if they have never had trash can cleaning before and you come by and you leave it, the can's just kind of got some running water left over it and a little bit in the bottom, like that's their expectation if they've never seen anything else, right? There's nothing wrong with that, especially when it's going to dry out generally by the time they get home anyways.
Right. Yeah, I don't have like a preconceived notion. I feel like you'd almost want it a little bit wet so you could see the evidence.
Exactly.
I remember having an exact call one time where a lady, we cleaned her can, probably it was summertime in San Antonio. It's 110 degrees. And a lady, got home at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. She called us and we took the call and she's like, did y'all come by today? I noticed the tape, but there was just no water on my can. And we're like, yes, man, we were there at, 1:30 and it's 110. And so she was looking for the evidence, right? She was looking for that water as proof. But most providers do also tag the can some way as a proof as well, right? Whether the can's dry or left.
Yeah, we were here.
They have a sticker system or a tag system or something.
Yeah. Do you said earlier you do 2 cans, right? Like a visit includes 2 cans because you see
might not be 2 cans, but you're selling up to 2. Yeah.
Okay.
You're including it in your price. That's my recommendation. Again, not everybody does that, but that'd be my recommendation.
Yeah. Why in the hell? This is an observation. This is a bias. Might be a local bias. Maybe this isn't how the rest of the world does it. But why in the hell is my recycling can smaller or the same size as my garbage can and they come half as often? Like that maybe it's just because I drink 78 beers a day. But why is it so? Why wouldn't they should be running that twice a week, right? It's like I can't fit more garbage in my garbage can. Like I could fit 78 more bags in my garbage can. We don't have a lot of garbage, but I sure got a lot of aluminum and plastic and recyclables and cardboard. Like, don't they know that it's Christmas every fucking day at the Plata household? And we got 78 Amazon boxes and dad's bringing home a box of wine and a case of beer. Like we have so much more recycling stuff than we have garbage stuff. Am I the only one? Am I just a glutton of cardboard and aluminum and plastic? Like why is this happening everywhere? Or is it just a prank on me? Like, I feel like I'm in the Truman Show and they're like, how long is he going to go until he like says something or throws a fit? It's got to be a joke.
Well, every market's every market's different. Like, for instance, in the city of San Antonio, you have a trash can issued by the city. You have a recycle can issued by the city. That's the exact same size. And you have a compost can. So everybody within the city is saying, compost can, green can. And so everybody in the city has 3. But as soon as you cross out into those little suburb cities.
You got this. You got this.
Yeah, I got through it. But as soon as you get out there into the little suburbs a little bit, you've got a lot of cities where there's maybe just one trash can. They don't even have a recycle program, right? Or in some places they have just these little carts. Like it's almost like a little cart when you go to Walmart. Instead of having the cart, you put a little hand
toter. Is it a toter?
I don't know. It's like that big, right? Like for a couple little things would fit in it, and those are always interesting. Like, why are you even paying for that?
What? I can't even like comprehend what you're talking about. It just doesn't register. Like
it's different, Dan. It's different everywhere. Like where I am, like in Palm Beach County, Florida, we have a trash can and then we have 2 mini recycling bins. One is for like glass, plastic, and the other is cardboard and paper. And
they even divide what your recycling is into different cans?
Yeah. So we have 3. So like a lot, like the few trash bin cleaning companies that are here, they just include all 3 because it makes sense like locally. And the recycling, so we have trash pickup 2 times a week and the recycling is picked up.
What? You must be on a Mac. That has to be a Mac.
But I'm on Chrome. And then 1 time a week we have recycling. So the trash bin cleaning guys here will come on recycling day because recycling day is also when trash bin cleaning day is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's different everywhere.
It's logical.
Yeah.
I just don't like that they only pick up my recycling like once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a joke. Like the amount of stuffing that happens in that can to try to like squeeze the recyclable stuff into there. Our garbage can has like a bag in it.
How do they know if you just put it? How are they gonna know if you just bag it and put it in your trash can?
I mean, they won't, but I'm trying to be a responsible human and like recyclable stuff. You know, I'm just like, just on my conscience.
The rumor on the internet is they just carry it to the dump anyways.
That's what I've heard. I do think it's funny. Like we have a yard waste can. But
that's the green can I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as an outdoorsy guy, like if I can grow my own food, I'm gonna grow that shit. And if I can go kill my own food, I'm gonna go kill that shit. And so I have 2 different compost bins just in my backyard. Like I'm trying to fetch me some good black soil. I got 10 tomato plants and 10 pepper plants and 6 cucumber plants. I'm still waiting for the rabbit to show up that just destroyed my garden last year. And he's going to get it with the BB gun this year. I'm going to be making rabbit stew real soon if he shows up. He's around. I've seen him in the yard, but he hasn't gotten back into the garden. But the BB gun is ready, and I got my rabbit stew recipe.
You should listen to a Meat Eater podcast one day. This guy sounds exactly like Steve Rinella. Like actually, hunting guy. Like
it's so funny you say that. It's actually really funny you say that. So I don't read a lot of business books anymore, and I don't listen to a lot of other business podcasts anymore because I think they're very boring, and they're just trying to like sell you some stuff. And granted, Meat Eater is too, but I routinely listen to every Meat Eater episode. The trivia ones are my favorite. Like they're just so good with the kids. It's great. When I run out of those, I'll jump over to some Bear Grease or some Cal in the Field. Just to like round out. And now they got the American West or whatever. I forget the name of the dude that's doing the American history stuff. That's like fascinating. But that is the podcast series I listen to, and probably nothing else. And part of the reason why I listen to it, and I will listen to like radio shows with the same lens of I'm entertained, but I'm also listening for really good hosting. Right. And it's part of the reason why I don't like. I'll listen to some Joe Rogan stuff. Yep. I think he's a really good host, and I love the way Steve hosts. He has this great lens of like when to interject a story and when to ask a question, and I like pay attention to that because I want this podcast to feel the same. Like we're damn near 2 hours in, and that just feels like we sat down. Right. That's kind of the goal of like I don't want it to be scripted. I just want it to be fun and flowing and engaging, and we'll see where it goes. But I specifically listen to all the Meat Eater podcasts because they do such a good job of hosting shows and asking intelligent questions as they go. The only difference is I always have a couple beers with mine. Otherwise,
you probably don't have a 45-minute long intro with all the ad space too, do you?
No, I don't have any ad space. There's no ad space. Brought to you by Best Damn Bookkeeping and One Love Social and the Trash Can Cleaners.
There we go.
Go sign it. Okay. Nailed it. Ad read. That was an ad read. Jai, my producer, can cut that in a few times. It'll sound super good, super authentic.
You had that question you wanted to ask. You wrote it down.
I did, but I wrote that down. I wrote down recycling bin.
Oh,
it was on the back side of a Minnesota unemployment letter. To make sure I get paid my unemployment tax or something. But that was my question is like, man, I just feel like there's like, why don't I have any room in my recycling bin? And is it just because I drink too many light beers or what?
Tell them you need a bigger can. Tell them you need a 96 gallon. That's the number. 96 gallon.
Knocked my microphone loose. If somebody, let's go this way. We're gonna slowly start wrapping this baby up here. Let's go this way. If somebody's interested in getting into bin cleaning, give me like a step 1, 2, and 3. What is the catalyst to start? And you can differentiate if they're like already in a home service space. I think pressure washing is an interesting one because they already kind of know something about spraying water around. I could see, and Ashley, you kind of hinted at it, but I could see like those guys are all going into lighting today, but that's starting to get saturated. And so as they keep traversing to new industries, like this seems like a great spot. But Brandon, what are like the step 1, 2, and 3 if somebody's either coming from another home service space and just looking for that next avenue, or they're in the corporate world, you know, being miserable and like, hey, I got to go be my own man, be my own gal, do my own thing.
Yeah. Probably honestly isn't that much different for whether they've never been in business before at all, or if they've got an existing business, because the odds are they don't know anything about this, right? They've just run across the idea. They don't know anything. Hopefully they've found our Facebook page. Hopefully they found our website and read through some of our blogs and stuff, because they're super educational. Maybe sometimes come in with some education, but oftentimes, I mean, every single day, me and my sales team here, like we are taking calls and having hour-long conversations, just teaching people, answering every question we can. I don't know how many of them I had today, multiples for sure. And like I'd say step 1 is just usually that, like give us a call, talk to us, like learn who we are as people, and like we're not going to bullshit you, and we're going to give you good education, and we're not going to try to sell you on some BS concepts that exist within the industry. We're just going to tell you like real world facts and examples, and then try to figure out like what piece of equipment might fit your budget or your setup or your town or whatever. And then from there, it's just a matter of, you know, what's the next step for them? Like oftentimes people want to come in and visit with us. I mean, we have people fly in here or travel in here to our office in San Antonio and sit down with me regularly, almost every single week, probably oftentimes multiples a week. They come in here and meet with us in this office, and we sit down, and to my left right here, I've got a big TV on the wall, and we put up software. We show them the software. We'll show them, you know, different resources that we've created and that come with it, right? We talk to the business about how to break down the territory, the pricing stuff that we discussed today. A lot of what we actually discussed, we'll have in that same conversation, just to give them an education. And then it comes down to, okay, what's the next step now for you independently? You know, sometimes a guy that's already an existing business owner is like, hey, I want to do it. Like, I've got the money in the bank. I'll write a check today. Sometimes it's, all right, let's go out. Let's find some financing. We've got 4 or 5, probably 3 or 4 financing companies we work with regularly on these. Yeah. And sometimes that even depends on, are we talking about a big full-size truck that's titled, or are we talking about, you know, a skid unit that I can just drop in the bed of the pickup truck that's under $50K? Like, sometimes that determines, you know, which financing we're going to go after, if they're going to use financing.
Let me interrupt you for a second. What's the most common in that regard, as far as like, hey, I'm new here. Maybe I cashed out some 401k and I'm trying to do this thing. Even so, if they have the cash, are you saying like, hey, maybe finance a little bit of it, but keep some money and pay Ashley to get you some leads because you got this truck and you got to get some?
Well, I mean, you're a bookkeeper. Most
common to get started.
You're a bookkeeper. You may disagree with me, but I mean, my recommendation is finance it. Usually, keep your cash available to spend for other things within the business, and you're going to write off that equipment anyways.
Yeah, so, I teach everybody that, which is, you're a fucking idiot if you buy shit for cash. Yeah. And I'll like tell them that straight up. Like, Dave Ramsey is made for personal stuff and pedestrians, not for business owners.
Yeah. Your
money is always best spent with Ashley and a recruiting service, because the two things that make you money are the client and the dude that's on the truck. The truck is the tool. Like, you can't do the job without it. But if you don't have a good dude to run it, or a good gal to run it, and a good person getting you clients, that truck is useless. It doesn't make you any money if you can't do the other two things.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you agree with me, because that's generally what I recommend. Like, keep your cash. Let somebody else's money pay your costs, right? You just make a reasonable monthly payment. You're going to have whatever 50, 100 grand in the bank, instead of not having it accessible to yourself if you need it, or can invest it more, you know, a way where it's going to turn a much better ROI than the interest rate that you're going to pay. And so that's what I usually tell people now. You know, so many people, especially first-time business owners, come in and they're just like, I don't want to have a payment. You know, I just don't want to have a payment, or I'm scared of the payment. I want to put all this money down. I'm like, man, come on. Like, you don't realize that you're handicapping yourself to grow potentially, you know?
Yeah. Oh, big time. I see that as the demise of many a person that ends up getting back on the truck or going back to the corporate world, is because they spent $100,000 on the truck and then they have no money left to grow their business.
Right.
And they just sit there.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, where are all the customers at? And it's like, well, you spent your money on the wrong thing. Right. Like that's where I said, like, you don't even, and not to like downplay your brand, but like, you don't even need the truck. Right. I have seen many a really talented technician that's the right person with the right marketing and clients. Like anybody could go clean a bin today. Now the truck makes it ridiculously more efficient and does a way better job. Right.
Yeah,
But
if you want to scale, it's necessary, but to sell a client, you don't have to have a truck. Right.
Exactly. It's like I always tell people like the employee is the most important thing, because like to start out with is probably you, but at the end of the day, like if you have shitty employees as a business owner, your life is always going to be miserable. So like make sure you have that. Then the client's the next most important thing, because you need to get a bunch of clients for like, and you need a lot of clients for a good employee, right? If you have a shitty employee, you don't need that many clients because they will suck and they won't be that productive and they'll show up late and whatever. But if you get a really good employee that wants to work hard and make a lot of money, then you need a really good marketing company, because you need a shitload of clients for a really good employee. And then a really good employee is going to say, hey, I want to be more efficient. Get me the best equipment. Like, why do I have this shitty old pressure washer? I want one of Brannon's rigs. Give me one of those. And then like, watch me go. Right. Like it tends to be in that order that I see. And then that's so repeatable, right? If you know you've got the guy and you know you have the marketing company, then it's like, rig me. I need another one. I need another one. I need another one. And I when I watch people do that, they grow so ridiculously fast. They just do. Like they've got and to your point, Brandon, they've got the money available to do it.
Yep.
Because they didn't blow it all on $100,000 piece of equipment. They finance it and their cash flow is free. And they give some to Ashley and go get a bunch of clients and find the right dude and go. What did we miss? Ashley, what did we miss here? Is there any missing pieces of the puzzle?
No. That's like one of the number one things is, like I was saying before, when they're spending all this money and they're like then they're like cash poor, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be like, with management fees and ad budget, it'll probably be close to 2,000, which isn't crazy, guys.
No, that's nothing. That's nothing.
So I think it's just having the right expectation when you're getting into the business. You need customers. The truck is amazing. The rigs are freaking fantastic. Brannon stuff. I love all the different options, but you need customers. Don't forget about marketing.
It has to all happen together.
Yeah, it does.
Business.
Yes.
I have a question. So I have two questions, and I need both of you guys to answer them. Brannon, if somebody's interested in getting into the trash bin cleaning business, how the hell do they get a hold of you and get coached up and learn the industry?
Well, very first thing is just give us a call. Phone number is 210-971-4980. That's the trash.
That'll be in the notes. Check the notes. Yeah. Jai will put that in the notes for us.
If somebody wants to just request some information too, and then we'll follow up as well. We follow up on every single request. Like you can go right to our website, thetrashcancleaners.com, and there's a form right in the middle of the page, picture of our trucks, a bunch of stuff. There's a form about basically a free business consultation. If they'll fill that out, it's just a handful of questions. Push submit. About 5 minutes later, they'll start getting Facebook text invites to our Facebook group. They'll start getting some automated emails going out with information that they can follow up on. And so oftentimes that's usually what happens. Somebody comes to our website, we drive them through there. And before I've ever talked to them, they've gotten access to 2 or 3 different pieces of quality information. And then we're going to follow up most likely the next day, with information. And in that forums, we've got additional phone numbers that you can call and whatnot. The other thing is join our Facebook group, Bin Cleaners Network North America, and go in there, and whatever topic you want to know, use the search bar, and you will learn a ton. Every question you can think of has already been asked in that group. I started that group, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. It's got almost 10,000 members now, which when I started it, I thought, well, maybe we'll have a couple hundred members one day, and I've got almost 10,000 members in that group. And I mean, you can find anything you want on there. You can tag me, ask me questions. I'm very responsive. My sales team's responsive. But you're going to learn a lot just from following along with that too. And I'd say those are the 3 main things to do, if you want to give us a call. So, or just learn more.
As soon as Facebook lets me out of jail, I'm coming.
Come on.
I probably was already in there, but no, I'm not. Or at least crypto slinging Dan, who hacked me and became me.
You were selling some Bitcoin, were you?
So weird. I was like,
crypto Dan.
Yeah, this is weird behavior from Dan. He's actually like trying to sell me some shit. What a weirdo.
Yeah, well, that's how
you're making your friends rich on the side, huh?
I had one guy that was a client of ours, and he owed us money for an invoice, and he had messaged me on Facebook. He said, "Hey Dan, how do I pay you? Like, can we split up my invoice?" And crypto slinging Dan was like, "Yeah, just cash at me." Right. And he almost this is the one story I've heard so far about the fallout of my Facebook account getting hacked and shut down was his wife was like, no, like, that's not really Dan. That's crypto Dan. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, she told him like, Dan got hacked, and he was about to send the dude a few $100 to pay an invoice. And I was just like, man, that was like, you were the closest. You're the closest to getting had by Crypto Dan. But then they shut Crypto Dan down. That guy was an asshole.
Yeah. He was asking for a lot.
I bet everybody he knew got rich though, didn't they? According to him.
According to him, he had pictures of really nice looking families that nailed it on crypto. Crushed it. Yeah. Ashley, give me the little lowdown here. Give us the little lowdown here on if somebody's got a bin cleaning business, or hit some other industries that you like to help out. How do they get a hold of you, and how can you help them?
Yeah, I call internally at One Love Social, we call trash bin cleaning clients our binnies. We call them binnies. So if you're a binny,
trademarked,
a coding client, lighting, I mean, anything under the home service umbrella, just go to our website, onelovesocial.media, or if you forget, I also own onelovesocial.com, which costs a lot of money, which is dumb. And
it's dumb, and it's getting more dumb because I don't think anybody cares anymore.
Nobody even cares. Like, I spent so much money to get it, and then nobody even uses it. So you should use it, actually, because I did spend all that money. But you would click on like book a call, schedule a call. It's very similar to Brannon. So I would say talk to Brannon first, get the lowdown, come to me and let me give you the lowdown on like what's really going to happen with Facebook and Instagram, the different services that you actually need right now, maybe ones that you can like pass on until you're actually like cash flow positive. And that's pretty, or you can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Ashley Bissing. I'll probably accept your friend request, or it's public, so you can just follow me. And then on Instagram, it's Ashby Jammin and One Love Social Media.
Booyah. All right. I got a closing question for you, but I'm going to go NFL draft style. So now, Ashley, you got to answer first, and Brandon, you got to finish it, which is, this is weird. I never had two sets of constraints here. I'm trying to make it generic enough so you can both work under the same set of constraints. So tomorrow you're going to wake up. The world's going to be different. I'm going to say home services just don't exist. We all generally live in caves or something. I don't know. But you got to do something unassociated with what you're doing today. Ashley, for you specifically, it can't be in marketing at all. Can't be in home services related at all. But you got to go do something tomorrow to make some dough. It doesn't, like, it's got to pay the bills, right? Brandon, for you, no home service related stuff. It can't be like coaching people or stuff like that, right? You're already doing that. It's got to be something wildly different than what you're doing today. And I've got my answer. I'm ready. We don't need my answer, but I ask this question every week, so I'm like prepared for where this is going to go. But I'm just curious. This is like going into the deep depths of your mind and your personality and what you're really passionate about aside from your businesses. Ashley, you get to answer first. Again, outside of like social media space, assuming home services don't exist and marketing isn't even a thing, but you had to like get up tomorrow and just go like run a business and to start a business. What would you go do?
I'd be a talent agency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have like an acting background that a lot of people don't know about. I was into the arts as a little ballerina. I was a thespian.
You were smaller than the average ballerina. What do you mean you were a little ballerina? What does that mean?
Well, I was actually. And in fact, the director of like the dance studio, he was like, "You're never going to make it as a ballerina." And he like crushed my heart. And fuck you, Mr. Satinoff. But I was too small. But yeah, that's my background actually, is like creative arts. So I probably would run like a talent agency to get people, acting gigs, or, let them live their life and, make money through the arts.
Interesting. Were you like planning on making a career out of doing ballerina stuff? Like, it was that soul crushing to you?
Like, delusional. Yeah. I went to like hypnotherapy about it. I've had therapy. I was like past life regression stuff. Yeah. I was pretty upset.
You were dead set on it. Is it like a Disney ride? Like there's a height requirement, or what the hell's the?
Yeah. And there's like a body type too. And also like, there's not like prima ballerinas are like 30 years old, like your career is very short-lived. As well.
Like a gymnast.
Yeah.
Like a gymnast.
Yeah. It's very, very short-lived, but like most people don't know this. Both of you have seen me in person, but I've been told that I look taller in person, or on screen, but in person, I'm like 5 foot. I'm like 105 pounds. I'm small. And so like a ballerina is typically like 5'5" plus, very like slender, long legs, long torso. And so I'm just not that.
I'm out. I'm pretty stout myself. Not going the ballerina route, which is good. It's good for everybody. Nobody wants to see that.
No tights.
I do. Hey, I wear a lot of base layers. Like, I was out golfing for a couple days in like 40 degrees. I'm a base layer son of a gun. And hunting and fishing, a lot of base layers. Wear a lot of tights. But when I'm seen in just my tights, I'm trying to embarrass everybody else. Like, I'm not afraid of being seen in them, but I'm like, joke's on all you guys, right? Like, I'm fine with this, but you guys got to look at me in these, and so joke's on you. That's my stance with wearing any tights. So, Brandon, how about you? You had some time to think about your answer here. I kind of put Ashley on the spot. I
kind of have a little side business that I already do anyway, so that's part of.
I feel like this is almost cheating to the answer, but you can go with it. You can go with it.
Well, I mean, I like to try to figure out how to make my hobbies into a business, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
So I've got it's really nice to be able to ride off hunting trips and stuff, and things like that.
You don't got to twist my arm.
Yeah. So, no, I think I would manufacture something, right? I think, like, you look at what's going on politically right now, like one of the things we don't do very much in the United States is manufacture stuff. Mm-hmm. I've got an idea with some Connex containers, where some things that we would manufacture, I could jump right into, and I think would do well. And then that would tie in with like an outfitting type business for, if we're talking about starting up fresh, you're set in life, like just kind of going and doing what would be really fun. Some kind of like guiding, outfitting type business, and this manufacturing piece tied in with it, with like Connex containers and housing and whatnot.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, yes.
When I had the, like the hell's their name? Why am I blanking on it? The saddle company.
Oh yeah. Tether.
Yeah. So I had Ernie and Greg on, and we have like mutual friends. Like, one of my business buddies, firefighter, pressure washing guy, also has a hunting channel and is like sponsored by Tether. So we all did a podcast together, and a ton of fun, like super good dudes. And I asked them that question. Like, I was like, Ernie and Greg, doesn't it kind of suck having your guys' business, and you're obviously like avid bow hunters, and yet here you are like stuck selling product, and you're tied, like your business conflicts with the time where you like to do your hobby, and they're like, no, manufacturing is the way to go. It sucks if you're an outfitter or a guide or retail, but if you're a manufacturer, it's great because we have to do all of our work between like January and June,
right?
So that everybody has everything they need for late summer and into the bow hunting season. By the time bow hunting season hits, it's just like a let it ride. and we're off the hook, and we're working on testing gear for the next season. And I was like, oh, you dogs. Like, so brilliant.
Yeah, like, they got life figured out, don't they?
Yeah, you guys built a business where like you get to test your product during your hobby.
Based on what I heard today, though, you know, in this podcast, I'm kind of thinking I might switch it up and figure out like some kind of like a iguana, like hunting, like channel or something, right? Like outfitting.
I bet like,
come on,
if you could develop the right slingshot, I bet you could start an iguana hunting. Yeah, you get some recipes going. You can meat eater your own iguana style. Like you get right in there. It's the right little slingshots, the right recipes. They got to be good.
I mean, right? alligator tail is excellent. It's just like a
super
little
good,
right? I mean,
it's just like it's the perfect combo between fish and chicken. Yeah. Can't imagine an iguana is too much different.
Ship us one. Hey, get some dry ice, Ashley, and ship us one. We'll figure it out.
Next time you run one over, just make sure you run over its head, throw the rest of the iguana in the freezer, and mail it to us on some dry ice. We'll deal with it from there.
Okay.
You think you can handle that?
No. I haven't chimed in at once when you're talking about hunting. That's not for me. Or hurting and killing animals.
Listen,
if you already ran
invasive.
It is invasive. That's true.
Yeah, if you ran it over and I cooked it for you, would you eat it?
Yes.
All right, that's all we need to know. Yeah.
I would. I wouldn't personally cook it. Like I love crabs, but I can't kill a crab. But I will eat crab.
I bet if you were hungry enough, you'd kill one.
Well, yeah, probably. Well,
there's a tipping point.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my favorite thing about the Boundary Waters trip we're doing is like you don't have a choice. You can only carry in so much, right? So you like have to go get your food while you're up there.
Hunting for survival, fishing.
You're surrounded by lakes, so it's like just you drop a Rapala in the water and like it's sitting next to the canoe and damn near a walleye comes up and eats it. So it's like it's not like it's the hardest fishing in the world. There's plenty of fish around and they don't see a ton of baits, but you still got to go catch your food. You can only carry so much. So
I'd kill a fish. I'd kill it.
You two-timing son of a gun.
Worthless.
Unreal. Just preferential death. It's like, oh, those are fine, but I'll kill that. I got a bone to pick with one of those. They're no good to me. Is it just because they don't like have the same structure as you? What?
I think that's what it is. Like, I don't know. I could kill it. I've caught a fish before and I never felt any way about it.
How'd you feel about that iguana though? Did you feel a different way then?
You know what? I felt so bad for that iguana. And I actually I've always like, I hit an iguana the other day in my car and I prayed about that. And I don't even pray. Like I was like, I felt so bad.
Prayed about that and I don't even pray.
She's hitting iguana like guys hit deer in the Midwest. Like
yeah. She's just out there smacking them, just laying down the iguana population, keeping it in check. Got to start working on your iguana recipes.
I should. They are invasive. I shouldn't feel the way that I do about the iguanas. I don't feel that bad about iguanas, to be honest with you.
Hey, here's my advice. You should feel the same way about an iguana that you would about a deer, that you would about a fish, that you would about picking a cucumber. It's all alive and it all needs to die for you to live. It's all the same. Circle of life. Here's the thing. We're gonna end the podcast on this. This is a really dark note. But nothing really dies of old age. Think about it. Everything gets eaten alive.
Oh,
everything.
Gosh. This is for us. Listen to these meat eater podcasts, Ashley. So
except for us, like every animal that's out there gets sick and old, and it eventually gets eaten alive. Yep. Like it might get hit by a car, but getting hit by a car is its best out.
Right.
Its other out is a hawk's going to come down and peck its eyeballs out until it dies. This is no lie. Shot a turkey the other day. My daughter and I doubled up on turkeys. It was the coolest thing. I shot one, and then the other one stuck around. And the one I shot was like flopping around on the ground, and the other one came and just beat the shit out of it. Yep. I mean, was stomping on it. and they got big spurs, and it was spurring it, and it was pecking at its head and slamming the other bird's head into the ground. It's like classic bird behavior, right? They're just dinosaurs. They beat the shit out of each other. Well, the one beat the shit out of the other one because the one was like dying, but birds take a while to die, nerves and stuff, just like fish do. And the second bird ran away because my daughter and I were like trying to move and like shuffle around the blind. And then its urge to kill that turkey some more just took over, and it came back and started beating it up again. And then we shot it. We doubled up. It was the coolest thing. Wild animals, though, like they're so relentlessly ruthless in pure survival and pure like the pecking order and hierarchy of whatever. So just know, Ashley, you can sleep better at night. There's no wild animal that dies of old age. I mean, like seldomly some will, but most of them die getting eaten alive or beaten up by their friend and killed by their friend because that's how they all live their lives. They're out there trying not to die every single day. And so if you run them over with the car, it's fine because A, you got some back straps. B, you put them out of their misery. That's the best death they could ever get, right? Their alternative is dying alive in a fire, right? Like the alternative death for every wild animal is the same thing we think about drowning or dying in a fire. That's what they got. They're either going to drown in a fire or drown in a fire. They're either going to drown or die in a fire or get dispatched by a human in some way, shape, or form. And so you've done that iguana a service. You're welcome.
That's a heck of a way to wrap it up.
That is. I mean, I hear you. I feel a little bit better about hitting that iguana, to be honest.
Yeah, just don't run over a tomato plant. A tomato plant's way more valuable than an iguana. Like, don't go driving through your garden.
No,
you'd feel worse if you drove through a garden and like ran over some cukes and tomatoes. You'd be like, "Fuck, those are good," right? Like iguana, it's not even that good. Like the vegetables care too.
We don't know that yet. She hadn't said the back.
I'm just assuming she's not just mudding out there in somebody's farm field, just running over their tomatoes. Damn tomatoes.
Okay, let's just wrap this up. I don't want to have nightmares about this.
You're gonna have a nightmare about like an iguana running through a tomato field. Like,
yeah, probably. I have like,
and you're gonna be chasing them down in like an old rusty truck. You'd be like, "What am I doing here? I don't even know who am I trying to hit." Back straps, and I'm making an iguana BLT. I'm gunning for an iguana BLT. All right, guys, it's time to wrap it up. That was good. That was a fun ending, though. I appreciate that. Either anybody got any closing comments, any closing thoughts, closing comments to leave the viewers with?
Oh, I'm just ready to, when I'm on my road trip to go hunt next year, I'm just excited about hearing this podcast on Meat Eater as I'm driving down the road. Didn't know I was on Meat Eater, but here we are.
Right, that's right. That's what it is.
That was awesome. Yeah, thanks for the invite, man. It's never thought I'd be doing a podcast at 10:20 at night, but pretty cool way to do it.
It's 11:20 here.
Happy hour. It's a late night happy hour.
Yep.
It's the Applebee's happy hour. Everybody gets a free appetizer.
This is great.
Ashley, any closing thoughts on like if somebody needs to go get some more clients? A little what to run with here quick before we depart?
Closing comments. You don't have to use One Love Social. I'd like you to, but if you are in any kind of like home service business, you make sure that you're diversifying your advertising budget and you put some into social media, but do the whole mix. Do the Facebook, Instagram ads, do the organic social, and don't you dare forget about lead nurturing. We do all of that. You do not have to use us, but you have to use all three in your business or your business will be dead. Like an iguana that I hit.
Like an iguana that Ashley mercifully ran over.
Yeah.
Mercilessly. Just no mercy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Home service homies, business nerds. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go check out Ashley Bissing at One Love Social for any social media marketing you need. Go check out Brannon Fowler at the Trash Can Cleanings. Brannon, what was the name of your Facebook group again? Throw that out there one more time.
Bin Cleaners Network North America.
go join Bin Cleaners Network North America on the F book. You won't see me there since I've been banned from Facebook for 180 days. Maybe they'll like relieve. Maybe if I get released early on good behavior, I don't know, social media, maybe I'll see you there someday. In the meantime, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. We'll catch you next week. Peace.